Strangers from distant lands, friends of old, welcome to the third and final week of the Shadowverse Crucible. I'm Sterling, joined, of course, by the amazing Exodium. Exodium, how you doing, my friend?
It's a great day. I mean, we just got back, if you guys were paying attention to the scene lately, from Rage just over the last couple of days, and so some nice things have been happening to the rotation format. And interested to see if that has kind of made its way into our players' minds for at least rotation for today.
I think it definitely has. And of course, the format for today, so players are playing in rotation, of course, but also unlimited and take two. So the 3 weeks of the Crucible has been an all-inclusive round-robin extravaganza. We've had the top 3 players from Pan America and the top 3 players from Europe face off in different matches throughout all of these past few weeks.
That's right. And who are the players playing against today? We've got SPRAYQUAZA versus MENSOU. Both of these players right now sitting at 0-2 for the Crucible.
That's right.
So looking to make their name, their stake, and plant their flag today. We've got CRUMSION versus ESSIA and Unlimited. We've got POTWASHER versus HISHIRO going in rotation. Both of those players are 2-0.
That's right.
Right now, going to be playing against each other in rotation to see who can cap off their Crucible with a nice 3-0.
And of course, Pan America has 3 points. Europe has 3 points. So today it could go 1-1, and then it comes down to the last final match.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I'm really hoping for, too.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. It's definitely going to be good. So, take 2 unlimited rotation. So some really interesting things I think happened at the at Rage in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
So Dark Feast Bat is still of course really strong, but like
really
the format has changed just a little bit. People are taking out Disciple and they're putting in Wings of Lust and adding in 3 Floruses as well. We've seen that.
Yeah. So basically just the numbers of all of the control cards are going up. 3 Evil Eye Demons, 3 Valnorex, 3 Floros, all the Disciples have come out. It's no longer this aggro, just RNG, I'm going to just try to, go balls to the wall until I get to Dark Beast Bat. Now it's a mid-rangey deck that's trying to play a little bit of control, a little bit of I'm going to heal as much as I can, and then we'll finally get to Dark Beast Bat to finish you off.
Maybe. And Swordcraft is also kind of in a weird place right now. I feel like people are really trying their hardest.
That's
They're
the best way to
trying
put
their
it.
darndest to make it work, but
that's
it's just
the way to put it.
without having a solid drop on 7, it really can't find a foothold.
That's
like
true.
in most of these
Gilmalace
matchups.
Maybe trying to step in some places, and in other places they're just kind of eschewing the 7 drop. But whatever. First of all, we're getting into take 2 for today, and
right.
I know we've been kind of seeing the matchups as they've been played out the last couple of weeks. A lot of players just going towards Forestcraft and Swordcraft, as they're the most consistent early game decks, and they have just the really nice bronze cards to filter out their curve to try to push for board. So I really want to see if we're just going to see Sword and Forest again in take 2, or if we're going to see somebody with a little bit of tech today.
I don't know. Shadowcraft was looking really good in take 2. Sometimes, like, the shadows that you generate, it's a resource that you have that your opponent doesn't have.
Yeah.
And having just big followers that can use those and gain additional effects, it's really strong.
It's really good. It just depends on where these players are at for today. Maybe they've done some extra prep that we don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, we know that Runecraft has fallen down on the tier just a little bit in take 2 as well.
Dragon used to be like the rogue pick, you know what I mean? Like people would be like, you know what? I'm going to get the good cards in Dragon, but it seems like that's fallen off a little bit too. You're not really ramping in anything crazy anymore. You're not taking over the game with their big effects. So now it's just about consistency in early game drops.
And last week we saw 2 Mirrorbane decks go up against one another in take 2.
No Mirrorbanes, unfortunately.
And nobody played the Mirrorbane. Nobody.
It's really sad. It's really sad to see. Yeah.
Because you can definitely draft your deck in take 2 so that you have no copies of a single card in your deck.
It's hard, but you can.
Sometimes it definitely forces you to pick like a copy of a card, but even then you can still activate Mirrorbane if you draw at least one of the copies of the card, and then your deck is free of those copies. So it can work, but again,
whatever.
Yeah.
I also think it's super fun that both of our O2 players, and I say that like it's a huge thing. Again, this is a training ground for our players before they head out to the World Grand Prix to compete for that $1 million.
Absolutely.
So realistically, we're just happy that we're giving them a chance that they can get these high-level matches in, get some prep work done before they go and play their long and arduous couple days at the World Grand Prix.
Get a few more points of data to add to their spreadsheet, just in case. So, but our next match is SPRAYQUAZA versus ESSIA. And SPRAYQUAZA was a player who qualified through the winners bracket of the Contenders Cup. SPRAYQUAZA, my friend, how are you doing, man? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah. So it's been a week. We didn't talk last week during the show, but I mean, how are you feeling about your Take 2 match this week? Like, how has your prep been? Like, how are you feeling about Take 2 in general? I guess from a competitive standpoint.
I've been playing some Take-Two recently, but I certainly could have played more. Thanksgiving celebration certainly put a cap on the amount of time I can practice.
All right, SPRAYQUAZA. So this week you're looking to get your first win. All right. What is your strategy going into this week? Do you have any outside factors? Are you still sticking with like the predominant swordcraft, forestcraft strategies? Anything else that you're going to be throwing into the mix today, you think?
I really enjoy playing Dragon and Artifact, so you might see me choose those over Forest.
I like to hear it. We've got our Dragon player. Our Rogue player is here.
SPRAYQUAZA, yeah, you're definitely like a very, very strong Dragon player. But so how are you feeling against MENSOU specifically, like against that opponent? Because this is the first time y'all have played together, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's the first time I played, but I definitely feel like I'm not worried about playing anyone. I played the 2 other French players, just one more in the list.
just one more on the list.
Check mark off the list.
Check mark off the list. Nice. That's right. So we're going to let you get back into your match really soon here, SPRAYQUAZA. Going into the World Grand Prix, how are you feeling? A lot of prep work still be done, I'm sure. What how do you like your chances?
Well, 1 out of 24, but you just gotta go into the mentality that you're gonna win.
Perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah, a lot of it comes down to that first match. If you can get half of the other people out of the way, and then
well, I mean, in a tournament like that, you get a win under your belt, you're probably feeling pretty good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, SPRAYQUAZA, thank you so much. We'll let you get into your match. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So SPRAYQUAZA, of course, a new member of Space Station Gaming. He got his nice little jersey in there at the end of the season to head him into the World Grand Prix. So SPRAYQUAZA has been one of those players that's been around for a long time in the scene. He's always, like we just saw even in Take-Two, he's always that kind of roguish player who brings sword when nobody's playing sword, who brings
Dragoncraft. Yeah, he was one of the only players at the Contenders Cup to bring Dragoncraft. We saw PDK, I think, out of two players. Yeah.
2 players, and it got him in immediately. Essentially, he was 2-0 already through the Contenders Cup to the World Grand Prix. So definitely one of those players who's not afraid to shake things up and kind of play what he likes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, thinking about this match, I mean, if SPRAYQUAZA does get that Dragoncraft, I mean, that's the amazing thing about Take-Two.
Yeah, you don't know.
3 out of 8 classes.
No idea.
What
You get a random. See, that's, to me, I think Take-Two is one of the most skill-intensive formats, especially when you're playing against other high-level players, because nobody throughout the course of the year is really spending most of their time on Take-Two. In preparation for the World Grand Prix, of course, you know what I mean? They're taking their due diligence, but they don't have this huge depth like they do in rotation and unlimited throughout the course of the year. So going up against one of these high-end opponents, you get a random 3 choices. You have to know basically what all of them do against each other so that you know how to draft your deck, because you don't even know what class your opponent's playing.
Yeah, I think it definitely requires it requires certainly just a wide breadth of knowledge. Rotation does as well, but it's an entirely different mindset that you have to be, an entirely different skill set, because you have no idea the cards you're going to get. You have to know those combinations and how they appear, their frequency of appearance, and how to use those combinations as they're presented to you.
Right, and we talk it like in rotation all the time about specific matchups, like when you're playing mid-shadow versus, you know, PDK Dragon or Arca Shadow or whatever. What does your mulligan look like? What type of game plan do you want to go for? What are the key cards throughout the course of your curve that you're looking for? In Take-Two, it's very similar, but you have a random assortment of cards against a random opponent when you had a random deck to choose from.
Yeah, and not knowing your opponent's list is also a huge factor.
Exactly.
Well.
And yeah, you don't have perfect information there even with the list. So it's really just about making optimal plays, building your synergies correctly, and then ultimately knowing what your opponent can play on curve so that you can make the best plays in like this nebulous, you know, whatever is going to happen, you don't really know. You can just make the best guess you can.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't forget, you can vote on which player you think is going to win, whether it's SPRAYQUAZA or MENSOU. Vote in the chat. We'll display the poll results at the once the match has begun. So I think definitely let us know in the chat who you think is going to win, who your favorite player is.
Yeah, and I'm interested for these 2 players' poll results, because so far they've both been unfavored by our pollees over the course of the last 2 weeks.
Slightly, yes, you're right.
Slightly, but that's great. Of course, I love the underdogs, especially going to the World Grand Prix. When I cast that, it's almost like these big tournaments bring out that underdog, right? Because a lot of players are like, you know, this isn't one of the favored players. It gives them that much more fire to just
it gives
prove
them something
wrong.
to prove. It gives them something to fight for. It
Absolutely,
really does.
Absolutely, yeah. And MENSOU is one of those players who we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, and even through the Contenders Cup, of just he's kind of this person who who won a big tournament, you know, at the beginning part of this year, came back, earned a slot in the Contenders Cup through, like, probably the hardest strength of schedule of any player to actually get there, alongside CRUMSION, of course. CRUMSION went through the same kind of rigmarole. You know, it's just a testament to a player to show up at the beginning, do his work, get there, and then really see what he's made of. And I want to see him get a win. I also want to see SPRAYQUAZA get a win because, you know, he's been just consistent throughout the entire year. I think he's due.
Here we are going into the first draft of the day. This is the first match, take 2. It is a best of 3, so SPRAYQUAZA is presented here with Forest Craft, Portal, and Sword
That's
Craft.
crazy. Okay.
That's an amazing
But he goes with
choices.
Portal. He said he was going to go with Portal.
Yep.
And he's sticking to his guns here over Sword and Forest. That is a crazy pick, but we'll see if it works out for him.
Yep. Malachio and Hakarabi on the left. Malachio's all right. Hakarabi's great, but Paracelsus and Magna Legacy looks like, he's going to go with the Magna Legacy.
Paracelsus is probably the most consistent of all the 4 cards, and Magna Legacy can be pretty good if you get some artifacts to round out your deck. So going back to the Take 2 strategy, for those of you new out there and going, you know, what am I looking for in Take 2? Realistically, it's about the curve, right? So if you keep attention to the middle part of the screen where you can see the drops everywhere from 1 to 8, you want a consistent bell curve. Well, actually, not really a bell curve. You don't want not that many early drops. You want it to be like a descending curve where you have a bunch of 2s and 3s, and then a couple 4s, 5s, maybe a 6, 7, and 8. But realistically, you just want a lot of early drops. The benefit in Take 2 is that you actually do want to play multiple threats on, say, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, things like that.
Right.
As unlike rotation, in rotation, if you empty your hand and your opponent deals with your board, you have nothing left.
Yeah.
In Take 2, if you can empty your hand, not very likely that your opponent's going to be able to empty your board.
Not likely. But it's interesting because you obviously want to have like a solid amount of 2-drops, but depending on what class your opponent has chosen, that can determine whether or not the game's going to go later or if it's going to be over really quickly. And if that's the case, you might want to have more high-cost cards or more lower-cost cards depending on that.
Yeah, and most of the high-cost cards that you want are ones that you know will be hard to deal with post-EVOs, once the EVO points are gone, as well as those big removal spells like that Divine Retribution we just saw on screen, things like that. We talk about that every week in Take 2. You need to get that hard removal because if your opponent plays that threat that you cannot deal with, you're probably just going to lose.
I think it was who was it last week that got a game win off of a Divine Retribution
off the top
deck? Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that right now, okay? All right. All right. We're gonna shuffle that one under the boards. Those are great top decks though. When you need something specifically in Take 2, you have one of it in your deck. It is like, of course, the supreme top deck, right? It is the actual best thing. Luwane, of course, a very good value card. In every Take 2 format, if you can find a card that keeps generating cards every time you play it, definitely something to pick up.
Pitfall's amazing too. And alongside Luwane, that was a really, really tough choice.
That is true. Yeah, hard removal versus lots of value. Absolutely.
Got Cannoneer, Cursed Stone, some Russian Ward. Okay, not bad, not bad. The final choice here, that which erases in Chronos. Chronos is...
All these cards are kind of weird to have in your deck here. Biofabrication, not very good in Take 2. Artifact Spark maybe could be if you can generate enough artifacts. That which erases is probably the most solid drop, and Chronos could be doomed for yourself if you play it. It's a card that you have to play around, but the deck looks pretty nice. We saw the curve, as I said. He's got a high number of 2 drops, and it curves down. He's got a decent number of 5 drops as well, so his curve's a little wonky in the middle.
Yeah, so I think he made some great choices there, considering this is Portalcraft, and a deck like Portalcraft in Take 2 is so strong because it is able to generate so much value over time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's got strong removal. He's got good endgame cards. I believe he did pick up that Enkidu, which gives you a Gilgamesh to kind of finish off the game. Yeah, a nice little drop. That's a 5-play .44 with Ward. Just gives you a nice little 5/3 Storm Follower to finish the game off.
Yeah, it gets full stats on Evo. I mean, like, even that card by itself is like, it's pretty good. It has Ward.
Yeah.
Ward is an amazing effect to Take 2 as well. Like, everything that you kind of take for granted in rotation of like, this card is War, it's Rush.
Yeah.
What does it really do? In Take 2, those things are absolutely necessary.
Essentially, if a card has a keyword on it in Take 2, it's probably more favored than a card that doesn't have a keyword. I mean, Rush, Last Words, Storm, of course, you know, and everything else. Ward, you know, Bane, anything that you can just throw in your deck to give you some utility.
To maybe get some 2-for-1, maybe get some value over here. So, we're going to be loading into the game very shortly. Here we are, and it looks like MENSOU has picked up Forest Craft. We've seen Forest Craft be so popular in Take 2 right now.
Very good generation, very good early game, very good removal, very good everything, really.
Oh, yeah. The unkilling cards just kind of took us by surprise, really.
Yes, they did. So, looking at these starting hands here, looks like SPRAYQUAZA has a pretty nice opener. He's got a 2, 3, and a 5. So only missing a 4-drop slot there, but he's got a few draws to get there. And MENSOU on the other side of things, 2, 3, 4. Can't really ask for
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, Majesty Align is probably one of the best starting cards in Take-Two that you could possibly hope for. Getting those analyzing artifacts in the deck, getting more draw is absolutely so vital in Take-Two.
That's right. And going first, I don't mind SPRAYQUAZA keeping the Enkaidu at all. Drawing into a Knower as well. Knower can put a nice little Prime artifact in your deck to also end the game with.
A nice little bronze in-game there. Getting, MENSOU getting the Disciple of Uncanny. That's really, really good. Going second as well.
Yeah, we like that. That means you can play it, evolve one of your followers. It basically takes no damage on the crackback, and then your opponent has to deal with multiple threats. Of course, you have to get there. You're going second, so you have to be able to maintain some sort of a board before turn 4.
Don't well, so another really good card.
I think honestly, we talked about that a little bit in the last couple of weeks too. Hornet Soldier might be one of the best cards in Forestcraft just by itself because it's a nice threat all on its own, plus it gives you a removal spell. There's a lot of good things going for that
Gives
card.
you Bane,
Yeah.
Very, very good card there.
Interesting. Thinking about opting for a trade here. I like going face. Happy Pig will give you defense back when it dies. Force your opponent to make those trades for you.
Especially considering SPRAYQUAZA had a 3-drop. He has cards in his hand to continue pushing out the tempo. Going face there's nothing wrong with that.
Treasure Map, one of my favorite cards
Treasure
to
Map's
take two,
amazing.
has found its way into MENSOU's hand.
Dude, could we see some Phoenix Roost here?
Okay. No, I don't want. No. I don't want to see Phoenix Roost. I want to see one of the top dollar cards here. So Treasure Map was a card I talked about in seasons past over and over again. More like Mimi than not, but in my case, I love the card. Treasure Map can pull a number of different artifacts from different classes, so you can basically start tailoring a game plan outside of your actual class when you play the card. There's plenty of decent cards that come out of it, and it also gives you a 1-drop in Take-Two, which you normally don't get, which leads into a potential 2-drop or later drop, something like that. So very cool card.
Absolutely. MENSOU just thinking about exactly how he wants to spend this turn, if he wants to use the Treasure Map, but then it's all he's really got to do. I feel like playing
He's got to play the 2/3.
He's got to play the 2/3.
You got to play the elf here. Got to trade into the 2/2. If you're going second and Take-Two, the last thing you want happening is being overrun on the board. Like we talked about, very hard to come back from big boards in Take-Two. MENSOU definitely taking his time here. Of course, MENSOU being a part of the team Revelation. Revelation has been kind of taking over at the tail end of this year as well. They've acquired MENSOU and HISHIRO, which were, of course, 2 of the top dogs, and they've got a lot of great players on their roster. They're making a big name for themselves this year.
MENSOU getting the Blood-Fed Flower Bed is probably one of the weaker cards to come out of Treasure Map. It can help you win the game if you are ahead.
Hey! Interesting choice. So not only does he play the Treasure Map, hoping for something specific, probably a Grave Desecration. That's probably the card he's looking for. But Blood-Fed Flower Bed also not playing it here. Also, obviously feeling the pressure that he's going second. His opponent has a board. But very interesting choice to not actually contest board last turn. So he's going to have to put in some work to catch back up.
SPRAYQUAZA just had, the Majesty Align and the Knower of History club. They're getting a wide board here. MENSOU playing the Elf Team, just trying to get a ward, trying to stave off some of this. Great choice.
It is. Now, Enkidu, of course, played on turn 5 from Evo right over this as a 6/6. And getting the Gilgamesh when you're going first feels pretty good.
Oh, I don't think he's not in Resonance. He won't get that.
Oh, that's right. You're right. That's right. Resonance needs to be active for you to get it. So, yeah, definitely awkwardly placed. I didn't even think about that. That's true.
A little bit, yeah. He can play the subject as a follower just to Evo over the ward if he wants to keep the Enkidu to try to get the Gilgamesh. So he's not tied down with just playing the Enkidu this turn.
I don't mind it. Like, of course he wants to save it for the Gilgamesh, but just thinking about the strategy involved with that is you still have a big board that your opponent most likely has to Evo into while your board keeps pushing face. Now this allows for an Evo to value trade, but maybe SPRAYQUAZA doesn't care. He says, I'm far enough ahead, I don't really care if he value trades, and I'm just going to be able to push a ton of damage.
Yeah. Okay, turn 5 here for MENSOU. He's got the Disciple of Unkilling. He might choose to throw that on that this turn. No, but he's going to use the Blood-Fed Flower.
Okay.
That seems like a really risky move.
That's risky. Maybe he just sees the number of cards in SPRAYQUAZA's hand, knows that he can wipe the board, Crossbow Elf on Evolve, dealing 2 damage to everything, and then evolving to trade. Of course, it doesn't leave him with much, except for a Fairy left behind. And we know a Gilgamesh is coming, so yeah, Blood-Fed Flower Bed is, ooh,
yeah, that
a little
was very,
risky.
very risky. And both players, I feel like, are using their evolution orbs very liberally.
They are. In this game, they are. And honestly, it's just the context of the hand, right? SPRAYQUAZA had basically just a, I don't want to say do nothing, but like just a curve to play out. Not really a lot of utility involved. And just needed to Evo to try to keep potential tempo going. Of course, Mensu finding a way around it. Really, you know what? Not playing the 3-drop and saving it for an Evo just to wipe out a full board, probably the correct play in the long run. It gives you one of those answers to a full board, which he might not have otherwise had.
Mensu gets the deity in his hand. That's nice. It's going to help him gain some rush in the following turns when he's able to enhance that.
It still has to deal with this 4/4 ward this turn. Yep, and it looks like the Yggdrasil now costing 6 as opposed to 7's a very good option this turn.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Evo's right into the Enkidu. Wants to go for the draw. I don't. Okay, he gets the wrath. Okay, so he wants to get rush, wants to get some storm later on in the game.
I like this. This is a really nice push. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be able to heal for 4 next turn with my Evo, of course, because Drain is on Yggdrasil and Blood-Fed is just going to help him get there. So one of the other factors of Take 2 that I'd like to mention is the fact that it's very hard to get damage in. So a Blood-Fed Flower Bed, when you're coming from behind, when you have to catch back up in damage, can get you that 4 extra points of damage that you might not have otherwise had going on in the game as well. So basically just a big attack coming from a 1 play point amulet.
Yeah, that's very true.
Of course, probably is scared of that Gilgamesh, so he's going to want to maintain control of the board at any cost here.
Absolutely. At any point during this game, SPRAYQUAZA can put down that 8 cost. 5 damage storm. That is such a potent threat.
Yes, it is. And no Evo points left, meaning this 1-1 trade very effectively into this 6-2 at the moment. Now, of course, we know that MENSOU picked up the Wrath. SPRAYQUAZA does not know what was chosen yet, so doesn't know if he went for the card draw or for the Wrath. Wrath can be very effective as well, ending the game, putting big threats out and giving them storm.
That's true. That's true. Especially when we get higher up in play points. And MENSOU can throw down a lot of followers on one single turn, and then at the end of the turn with 4 play points remaining, throw down the Wrath of Creation and give them a storm. One of them +1.
Absolutely. So here we see the Hornet Soldier, option being the little Hornet here to go ahead and take down this 6-2, I would assume.
Yep, more than likely, and that installs a rather big threat on the side of MENSOU, but again, I think that's a really high valuable resource for just a follower that, just a 6-2 follower that's SPRAYQUAZA had. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
But if you can't take it out, right, then you're staring down a potential, 11 damage next turn. Do you really want to accept that? I don't think so.
Guess so.
All right, so Divine Retribution is the top deck from SPRAYQUAZA. Could be the option this turn. Gets rid of the big follower, forces through some more damage while that Blood-Fed is ticking, getting him closer to Gilgamesh lethal. But of course, using it on a 5/4 doesn't feel that good either.
Yeah, it's not that. Again, yeah, that would be, I think, a really high-cost resource for not a whole lot of.
What year are you thinking?
All right, so Mana Pistol to play, clears off the 1/1, and gets some damage on that Hornet Soldier. So now it can be plinked away by any of these followers here.
Yep, absolutely. And SPRAYQUAZA sets up. Yeah, SPRAYQUAZA is trying to push for getting lethal with this Gilgamesh next turn. Or in a few turns, certainly. I think that's a setup here. He has Magna Legacy, but no artifacts in sight. I mean, it's just going to be an 8-cost 6/6. Again, if that's all you have, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely not what SPRAYQUAZA wants to be seeing.
That's right. At this point in the game, SPRAYQUAZA is out of options. And what I mean by that is his option really is, I just need to present lethal as often as possible to slow my opponent down because he knows I have the Gilgamesh. Or even potentially, try to get it through and not get traded into type of deal. MENSOU is playing a similar game. He has to keep lethal off the board while presenting enough damage over the next few turns to actually close this game out before Gilgamesh can win the game. This is a really, really good effect. Again, we're seeing it just be a bonkers card here. The Disciple of Unkilling, basically muting that huge follow that SPRAYQUAZA has played to be traded into super effectively and then backed up by a ward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if MENSOU wants, he can use the Wrath of Creation to rush something in, but no, I think he wants to save that. Oh no, he is. Okay.
You defile life.
He just wants to get everything off the board. The puppet in hand is not going to do anything to affect the score 1 before that ward gets taken care of. Divine Retribution will not take care of the ward either. Uh-oh.
No.
Gilgamesh is the play. And
This
I think
way he can use the puppet to clear off the Disciple of Unkilling, so he's gaining something here, but oh, that does not feel good.
yeah, there's his end game. So now it's just down to this Magna Legacy at the moment that we see to try to deal this 12 points of damage. And another great card here drawn from MENSOU.
That's an amazing card.
Fairy Saber, being able to pump his board, giving him another nice rush follower if he needs it. Might even just play it here to clear the board and keep smacking for 5 damage.
So yeah, keeping that Hornet alive as long as possible, I think, is MENSOU's best play here. So finding another way to clear off the Gilgamesh, I think MENSOU might just have to play the Fairy Saber down and
Let's play.
Tears of the earth
go.
nourish me. Leave this to me.
Doing the old Fairy Saber things, giving all of these followers rush. Love it, being able to push 6 damage now.
Fairy Saber things.
So good. And now Lethal is presented. This is going to be a really rough game for SPRAYQUAZA to come back in.
Oh, no, off the top of Basilius.
Come on!
No Evolution Orb to use with that. Oh, man.
So one of the costs of using your Evolution Orbs early in the game, folks, is that when you draw a card as good as Basilius being a 5/6 that you can Evo to banish all enemy followers with 3 defense or less, and it's a 5/6, would have been able to clear that whole board. But no Evo points means not the case.
Only the cute survive.
So quick.
And it comes down to deal that 1 extra point of damage, and MENSOU is going to go 1-0 in this series to start things off.
Forest Craft takes down Portal Spray. SPRAYQUAZA had Forest Craft available to him in the draft, but he did not choose to pick it.
You know, it could be a flavor thing, and I'm
Sure.
not going to fault any player for knowing what they want to do in Take-Two.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter, but it has seemed like Forest Craft is really good in Take-Two.
Definitely seems that way, and the
Yeah.
choices I think that SPRAYQUAZA picked in his draft, maybe not the best thing that Portalcraft can be doing. Magna Legacy didn't really see much use at all.
Well, here's the thing about Portalcraft that players like and don't like. So the things they like are the fact that it has an innumerable amount of 2-drops to actually get into your deck. So it makes the deck very consistent in the early game. The bad thing about Portalcraft, just like Runecraft, is that it's split between 2 different sectors, right? It's got artifacts, it's got, you know, sometimes, and maybe even split between itself. Sometimes you need artifacts in your deck, sometimes you need them in your hand to activate cards. Sometimes you want to generate puppets and pump puppets. Like, there's a lot of things going on that make it hard to actually synergize within the Take-Two format.
Okay, the 3 choices available to SPRAYQUAZA: Shadowcraft, Runecraft, and Havencraft. This is a really tough choice.
This is, and he goes with the only one that I know. I wasn't even thinking was a consideration, but Runecraft is the choice.
He has Proto-Bahamut and Snowman King.
That's insane.
That's amazing.
That's insane.
That's very, very good.
Snowman King, one of those cards that you do have to build up. It is hard to use in Take-Two, just because you need to spell boost it for it to be good. But Proto-Bahamut doesn't need any help.
Nah,
That
just
card
throw
just-
him down. He's a big boy. Oh, yeah.
He'll take
yeah.
over the game all by himself.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Not the Staff of Whirlwinds there. Interesting. Staff of Whirlwinds, one of those big board clears I was talking about. Very hard to come by in Take-Two. Wants to go with Curve instead.
Summoning drills can gain a lot of value, getting a lot of ward for yourself. But again, having Earthright, it's dicey because you're not always going to have a card that's going to be able to use up the Earthright that's on the field.
It's just a good card, though. You know, 4 play points to give you 2 cards out of it, essentially, and they're wards to boot, so pretty good stuff. And honestly, taking anything with the word Sammy in it is pretty bad in any format because it draws both players' cards, and that never feels good.
Ooh, Mysteria Knowledge and Disciple of Truth. Oh, alongside Summoning Drills. Oh, man.
Yeah, a lot of good options here.
Yeah.
And the curve is looking way better than I thought it would have for Runecraft to boot, so pretty good start here for SPRAYQUAZA. And if we notice on the other side of the table, MENSOU has picked up Shadowcraft this time.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Going to be seeing a completely different matchup in the next game.
I don't
It's
know
gonna
if
be
we've ever
interesting.
seen Shadowcraft versus Runecraft.
Versus Runecraft. This is unexplored territory, folks.
Absolutely. So Fate's Hand, obviously one of the best cards in Runecraft, but again, one of those cards in Take-Two that could just be okay. Ooh. Wayne plus Apostle of Craving.
Apostle of Craving is really good in
It's
Take-Two.
Craving Splendor on a stick.
Yeah.
With Craving Splendor. That's really cool.
It's the puppy dog Craving Splendor.
Yeah. I wouldn't really call him a puppy dog. That thing will probably tear you apart.
Yeah, he's probably pretty big too.
Probably
Probably a large
the
animal.
size of a tree. You know?
Yes.
Big animal. All right, so some removal and card draw here picked up.
There's the Abyss Summoner. Okay.
Ooh.
That's a really good choice there.
With another Summoning Drills, this deck is looking sweet.
This deck is looking really good. Oh, Valkyrie of Order, Genesis of Legend.
Okay,
Oh,
I like this deck. This deck's really strong.
yeah, this is nice.
Abyss Summoner was actually the reason a lot of people tended towards Runecraft in the past, just because in Take 2 you have a 30-card deck as opposed to a 40-card deck, a lot easier. As a matter of fact, I think it's guaranteed by turn 7.
Guaranteed, yeah, by turn 7 that you'll be able to activate the Abyss Summoner. And it used to be that you'd be able to draft at least 3 of Abyss Summoner because it's a silver card.
At least is a stretch, but you would get 2 or 3.
Okay,
now it's a lot less likely to get that many, but even having 1 in your deck is a very solid 7 drop.
Oh, yeah.
Basically summons a 4/4 with a Storm, actually. That's pretty insane, or a big ward that has damage prevention on it. So it's got defensive and offensive options. Another Snowman King.
Apostle of Truth, though,
It's a 2-drop.
yeah, it's a 2-drop.
And Prophetess of Creation, I mean, does he have everything along the curve? He has no 6-drops. So that's not even a playable card in his deck. Prophetess looks big, though.
It looks like he can, win the game, but there's a lot of
You have
text
to
on
be
that
able
card.
to play it, yeah. So that's one of those cool cards that I think might show up at some point in rotation format. Maybe unlimited, probably more likely. Just
Maybe, but I mean, like, maybe with Giant Chimera kind of going to wane a little bit.
it might
maybe
need a new
Prophetess of Creation just slides in there as the new Runecraft card.
That's true. So in this matchup, Runecraft is looking very strong. He has a really nice curve with a lot of wards, a lot of good drops along the curve. Shadowcraft, one of those decks that really plays to the board better than most with their last word effects and summoning more things, and it has a decent amount of removal too. So we'll see if MENSOU's curve can line up correctly against the power cards that we saw from SPRAYQUAZA.
That's definitely true. I mean, yeah, Abyss Summoner and the summoning drills. So remind me. So when you play the card, it summons
3/3 ward.
The 3/3 ward.
And then when it goes away, you get a 0/2 ward.
It's a countdown.
It's a countdown.
Oh, it is a countdown. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you had to spin. I thought you had
No.
to have an Earthright effect to use it on.
No.
Okay, that's really
That's
really
right.
strong.
It's a really strong card. Summoning Drills, I think, might be one of the best 4-drops in Take 2, period, just because it's good on the play, it's good on the draw, and it gives you more value than most cards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 4 cost, and you have a 3/3 ward, and then you have another ward. Just sometimes being able to stop your opponent from attacking, they have one big follower on their side of the field that buys you the turn you need to draw the card that can save the game.
Sure, and as you saw last game, when you have big threats that you can then hide behind wards in the end game, really hard to keep chunking through the wards while you're trying to deal with their big followers at the same time with a limited card pool. So wards do double duty in this format, and when you have one card that can produce 2, pretty strong.
It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. But, of course, MENSOU has Shadowcraft. Not many players choose Shadowcraft. We don't get to see it that much. But, I mean, maybe MENSOU knows something we don't as far as the cards that are offered to him.
Well, here's the real thing. So over the last couple of weeks, we've seen, and honestly, we haven't been able to see Take 2 for a very long time. So we've been seeing players tend towards Swordcraft and Forestcraft, but even in these last 2 weeks, if they haven't had one of those two to choose from, Shadowcraft has been the third backup.
It is. I mean, I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, we saw Hinterland Ghoul last week. Just kind of not do much. Yeah, it fills your card. If you can get to turn 9, it fills your card. It fills your hand up with cards that you can actually spend along with it.
A lot of its legendaries aren't great for Take 2. They're very slow. They're very inactive type of legendaries, whereas a lot of the other classes have very active legendaries.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think that's the power level that you're going for. Again, just in Take 2, you want very consistent early to mid games, and I think Shadowcraft along with Swordcraft and Forestcraft can really put that together.
Absolutely. Okay. Game 2, MENSOU is up 1-0. This is match point. MENSOU wins here. That is going to be it, and that's going to be one more point for the European team.
Here we go.
Both players have access to 2 drops, Fairy, and then the Goblin Mount Ogre on the side of MENSOU. Looks really good, especially going into Catalina. That's a really, really strong card. Take 2, having a resistance from spell damage, or technically it can't take damage more than 3 once it's...
Look at these poll results.
Wow.
MENSOU showing up today at 74%. SPRAYQUAZA 26%. All right, so a lack of faith in SPRAYQUAZA in the Take 2 format today.
I've got faith, man. I've got faith. It's gonna be good.
Got faith as well. Of course, those votes were locked in before the first game ended. So
that's true.
You know, players aren't going to be biased, or I mean, polies rather, not going to be biased here.
Exactly. Okay. So, turn 2 for MENSOU. He has the Sarunan. I love that card.
Sarunan. I like a lot of the names of the cards in
they're
in this
amazing.
game. Yeah, they're really flavorful. All right, so Beast Face, we haven't seen in a long time the Beast Face Mage to summon Earth Sigils. I'm not too sure if that's that great in SPRAYQUAZA's deck. I think he has one Earthright card in his deck, maybe two.
Maybe one?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it is.
He's got Grand Spire.
Okay, he's got Grand Spire.
He's got Grand Spire, but
Okay.
I mean, the Earthright on that card isn't what makes it insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it better for sure. So, I mean, I guess any card that does something in your deck is better than that. So.
That's true. And this could just end up being one less board space that SPRAYQUAZA has for the rest of the game. This is
It's true.
one of the massive downsides of Earthright and Take 2.
Yeah. It puts an amulet in play that seemingly doesn't do anything, but Runecraft cards, some of them have Earthright on them. What that means is it would sacrifice a sigil that you have in play, one of those amulets, so that it gains an extra effect.
Right.
So, but if you don't draw one of them, then it just takes up a board space.
SPRAYQUAZA, I think, might just end his turn here.
Yeah, he has a very late game hand, so getting early pressure and losing some value going into an Evo turn probably doesn't feel too good. Wants to be able to get as much value out of his hand to extend this game as he can. And MENSOU's got pretty slow hand as well. He's got a very reactive hand here. He's got a Fran, he's got a Sarcophagus, all things that you want to be using defensively, but he does have that Vile Pump Spell in his hand for 8, so if he does manage to get a board filled up,
Torment,
Vile Torment, yeah, he can actually pump his entire board and go crazy with that card.
Very, very strong card. I've definitely seen that card come down and Take 2, and it's like, what do I do here? They just got a bunch of skeletons, and they're really big.
Yeah, they're really big. It's a very good value card. That's a card that people tried to make in rotation work for a little while, but didn't really show up, as Gilnelise is just, I mean, you have 3 Gilnelise,
Yeah,
just play
you've
them.
got Gilnelise. Play the
good.
Gilnelise. Yeah. Playing down the 3-2, though. Nothing wrong with that. On turn 4, gets to save an Evo point here. Now the ball goes over to SPRAYQUAZA's court.
We made a little mention of Proto Bahamut when the draft was going on. Proto Bahamut, what does it do? It accelerates for 7 to deal 3 damage to all of your opposing followers.
1 damage to the enemy leader.
And 1 damage to the enemy leader, that's right. Or you can play it for 9, and it just does that every turn at the end of the turn, which is pretty insane. So
Pretty insane.
Can catch you back up if you need to clear the board, and it can also win the game by itself post-Evo points. Even before post-Evo points. An 8-8 is a pretty big body.
It's huge. It's very, very... So SPRAYQUAZA chose to use his first Evo point on this turn just to clear off the 3-2, and now...
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he had to do that, but...
Had to's
did he?
rough. Yeah, had to's rough. If you're making the first Evo going first, it means you're just that much more behind on the Evo race because it's just going to force you to keep Evoing. And I don't think SPRAYQUAZA has the hand to really do that. Now, of course, he can make a big comeback like we talked about with the Abyss Summoner on 7. But I don't think he was too pressured by a 2-3 to actually use that Evo point there. Very interesting play to me. There we go.
Comes into his summoning drills. That's really nice.
Perfect card to draw. Actually does deal with this 3-3 very effectively. So very good stuff there. And he's still going to hold on here to the Apostle of Truth here. Interesting. Just not even playing for board. Just wants to go super late game like we were talking about.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, now...
Is that a fairy?
It is a fairy. It is a fairy.
So fairy is a card that I'd like to point out to people that are newer to the game as well. 10 play points when you have them. It's a 2 play point 2-2 where you can take 2 followers in your hand, basically play to them to the board and destroy them. And it gives all followers you have in play the ability to attack 3 times that turn.
So, right. So if you have 2 followers in play,
you cannot
play fairy. No, but then you have the other 2 followers.
Oh, yeah. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, you have to have at max 2 followers in play.
At max,
because you need the space for the 2 followers they hit play to sacrifice. Then they gain the ability.
Then
to
those 2 followers
gain
the attack. Yep. Kaiza Evolve. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Here we go.
First time we've seen that.
That's right, and Bone Bug to finish things off. So just presenting a board. Again, trying to fill up the board before turn 8, so he can give a very nice pump effect to an entire field. Fortunately for SPRAYQUAZA, he has one of the best cards in the game in Proto Bahamut to actually answer something like a Vile Torment turn. And he's going to be on 9 when his opponent hits 8, so it's going to be on the perfect swing.
It's going to be on the perfect swing. Oh my gosh. That's going to be crazy. I don't know if MENSOU knows what's coming for him.
I don't think so. And this is an amazingly strong turn. The other benefit of this 4-4, as you'll see at the end of this turn, 4-1 back to a 4-4. It heals itself to full at the end of turn.
The trading potential of that card, of the Eldritch Demon, is just insane.
Very insane. So now you have to contend with an 8-7, and a 4/4 that will keep destroying your board if left unchecked.
I think Fran can do it, actually. That's probably the perfect card that MENSOU has to deal with it. So he has enough shadows to give Fran's Attendant Rush, and he can trade in with the Sarcophagus, and that clears the board.
That's true, but that doesn't really leave him with anything at all, which is rough. Now, he will be able to maintain an Evo point going into the late game to help him with a Proto Bahamut, and he does have the big Soul Hunter in hand. So here's the trade-off. If Fran is played and Fran's Attendant is used to use up all of these shadows, the shadows won't be there for the big Soul Hunter for the Proto Bahamut. Ooh, and he's just using it early. Uh-oh.
Wow.
I'm hearing doomsday bells in my head right now.
That was risky. That was risky. I mean, there's no way MENSOU can know, of course.
Of course not. Yeah, I mean, that's an amazingly good play, and he's filling up the
course.
board here. He has no idea that he's in for a Proto Bahamut and just another turn here. Oh, my goodness. That was pretty good.
That was insanely good. Yep.
All right, so another card that can give you cards from a different class. He's now opened with a Star Phoenix, 2/2 with Rush. Whenever you play a non-follower spell, you put it back in your hand when it's dead. And then a Pollux, which is just a nice, cheap, big follower that can Evo itself.
A non-follower spell. I think it's the first time I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, just, you know, try to clean things up.
It's just it's clarifying things. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now Vile Torment is an option.
Vile Torment's a very, very strong play this turn. Oh, boy. Wow.
I'm just going to hold my breath here. MENSOU's like, yeah, I got this game in the bag. You got no Evo points. You got all these small followers. You got nothing. Especially if he value trades here and doesn't get any damage in.
Oh,
and,
man.
I mean, that's what you'd want to do, right? Like, you want to clear the board, and then your opponent, again, has no Evos, potentially no way to deal with this wide board. And you're
so he's thinking about it. He's weighing the risk.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could go face here, but then you allow... I mean, at least trade with the 2/1 so it can't trade into one of the 2/2s.
Right.
Probably with the 3/4. That way nothing is able to be gobbled up by this Goblin. And yeah, just set yourself up for victory over the course of the end of this game.
MENSOU's thinking, what if there's a Nova Flare? What if there's a Proto Bahamut? What if there's anything that can take this win away from me?
That's true. I don't think you can play around it. I don't think that's one of the cards where you're just like, you know what? I'm going to play around Proto Bahamut. Not only that, if you're playing Vile Torment this turn, you're definitely not playing around Proto Bahamut.
That's
so
true.
Just making a decision on what to do this turn. And maybe he's just going to push all face here.
I think that was probably the right choice.
Yeah, he says, I'm going to end it here. I like it.
A really, really strong choice from MENSOU.
Now Proto Bahamut doesn't full clear, I suppose. It won't clear the 3/4. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, yeah. So trading
Just
first. Trading first does that.
All right. So yeah. Yeah.
But still, that was a lot of damage that MENSOU got on.
That was a lot of damage, but can he actually force this through for a win?
He can use Fran to just get rid of the Proto Bahamut this turn.
That's true.
Using the full 7 cost enhanced Fran.
And you have to.
I think he has to.
Yeah. You have to do it. Now, the thing is, MENSOU also got rid of his Fran earlier in the game, which means he doesn't have a great way to just one-shot his opponent if he basically is able to stick any followers here. So he's going to have to do it the honest way.
Keeping him honest.
That's right. And SPRAYQUAZA has come into just a ton of really good cards that's going to help him in this endgame. Pollux, again, is just a very strong card. Snowman King not fully buffed up with Spell Boost to fill up an entire board. But if he can get a couple spells before MENSOU can put together a board, of course, Snowman King's going to be very good here.
Ooh, draws another Fran. That was really nice.
All right. MENSOU staying alive.
I do not think the Snowman King is spell boosted very much, unfortunately, for SPRAYQUAZA.
Yeah. Pollux pretty strong here, though. We'll see what he decides to do this turn. Couple good options. Okay, see what the Valkyrie gets. Valkyrie gets Ward. And here's the Pollux for the free Evo, as I was talking about.
Not bad.
Very strong.
Very strong.
I mean, this is the end game for Take 2. For those of you who are trying to get better and what you need to do to actually finish games out, playing a big threat and protecting it with Ward, usually one of the strongest options.
Yep, absolutely. And Apostle of Truth couldn't even play it that turn because he would have had to have gotten rid of the Snowman King in his hand.
That's right. But MENSOU again with a second Fran drawn off the top of the deck last turn, able to deal with this full board.
Wow.
And have something stick. And it's not just a little something, it's a 5-attack follower. That's going to chunk SPRAYQUAZA pretty hard if left unchecked. And protected.
Behind the ward.
Oh, there we go. That's how it's done.
Words, man.
All right, Sleep Incantation. Able to draw and bounce. Bouncing that card is not necessarily your favorite thing in the world to do because it does cause 0, but it does get the 5 damage off the table.
Sure,
and it does get your Star Phoenix back, but Star Phoenix isn't able to run through this ward just yet. Ooh, all these insights are powering up the Snowman King right now. What a time to draw into this.
Seriously.
Probably going to save the other insight to keep that Star Phoenix on a nice little loop here. These are all good things happening for SPRAYQUAZA right now. Is that a Satunga?
That is a Satunga.
Satunga? That is, unfortunately, at this moment, just a high-cost follower that doesn't do a whole lot right here.
Sure. Can banish an amulet, but, you know, there's no amulets.
No amulets at the moment. That's right. Casket, a decent draw for a follow-up turn to get some bigger followers in play as well. We're going to be at the mercy for SPRAYQUAZA here for a turn or two. And I believe this is a pretty straightforward trade insight Snowman King. Fill up the board. And comes into an Apostle of Craving. This endgame hand is sweet. It's like he's playing some kind of a control deck or something. So Snowman King has the option of giving you 2/2 wards based on your spell boost, or 1/3s with Storm. 1/3s with Storm seem pretty effective right now.
Summons an extra one based on the number of times the card has been spell boosted, of course.
And here we go. Can MENSOU get back into this game? This is what I was talking about. He got 11 damage in, but can he deal the last 9? It's hard.
No,
it's tough.
It's possible. He's got a lot of followers in his hand just by themselves. So he's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure that he can put on board.
That's right. And I like the Profane Resurrection here. So if this 5/4 is traded into, which it will most likely be, then he will pop out with a 4/4 and a 2/2. So very good, nice, aggressive push at this end game. But man, SPRAYQUAZA keeps drawing nice cards. Star Phoenix to help him this turn. Apostle of Craving. Lwayne can give him a Storm Follower into a Rush Follower. Lot of good cards here.
Disciple of Truth can heal him. As we know in RuneCraft, healing is nice.
It is the best thing.
It is primo al dente. Al dente
what he said. All right, so I think this 1/1 will possibly get traded off just to clear up some board space, along with the 1/3 into the 2/2 here. And then you can Apostle down, or trade into the bigger followers here for the Apostle to get some good work done. But I think you do have to go board trade here. I think 2 of these 1/3s will go into a 2/2.
So now whenever that Lich attacks, it will deal 3 damage to itself before damage is dealt from the attack.
So now it's just a 1/3 that just kind of sits there.
Unless there's something else that MENSOU has that can buff up the defense.
That's a scary thing. That has happened to me in rotation. I try to deck out with Apostle, not thinking about like pump spells and things like that. Yeah, definitely got to watch out for that because you know, even one more defense on this 7/3 means this thing attacks for almost lethal by itself.
Yep. It looks like there's lethal, but there's not.
There's not lethal. No, not quite yet.
Satunga is just a big follower, though.
Yep, Satunga now coming into play. Not an easy way to trade into this Apostle, though, on SPRAYQUAZA's board, so the 6/5 will be dealt with.
I think MENSOU, just has to push for damage as much as he can.
That's all he's got left.
Stereo Knowledge is nice. That really, really helps out SPRAYQUAZA.
Gets the Circle and the Star Phoenix back, of course. This infinite Star Phoenix loop, this is why cards that give you things that aren't in your class and take 2, super, super beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
This game plan would not be available to SPRAYQUAZA whatsoever had he not picked up a card that could produce that Star Phoenix for him.
Snowman King has been absolutely insane. Those wild snowmen have been around on the field for at least 3 turns now.
And I'd say the Star Phoenix was probably the biggest boon to this game as well. Just a card that he's been able to use very effectively in RuneCraft, having more spell type effects than most of the other classes.
And that is SPRAYQUAZA exhausting MENSOU's deck.
That's right. We'll Let's see if MENSOU can come into anything here to change the pace.
Oh.
Just some more value cards here. Not the worst cards to be drawing, but definitely not something that's going to take over the game here.
Sure.
And he's staring down a potential 7, 8, 9 damage next turn. Actually 10 if he trades off one of the 1/1s and plays a Luane into the Storm Follower next turn.
That's true. And he still has healing with the Disciple of Truth. If anything, that is a 3-cost 3/3.
It feels really bad when you're just like, you got a 7/3 on your side of the board, and it's just
You can't use it.
kind of sitting there. You're just like,
no,
oh, man. It's like having an Earthright Sigil that you can't actually get rid of. You can just attack with it.
Sure. You could empty up your board space if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you needed to. Yeah. Man. Imagine that with Vile Torment, dude. Oh.
Okay, that's true. If there's a second Vile Torment in this deck,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, MENSOU is left with any other follower in play to deal with a ward potentially, that would be a pretty crazy way to win.
Oh, he can't get rid of the war. That's nice.
Actually, did the ward save him this turn? If he would have gotten rid of the effects on the 7/3, I believe the attack would have gone away. as well,
Oh,
maybe.
that's right.
Let's see here. Except changes to its attack. So if the ward was not played, the game was actually over because
wow.
you could just go around the damage effect. That's crazy.
That's insane. And it's a fanfare. Oh. Play it right from your hand, man.
Oh my goodness. How close? How close were we to MENSOU just finding a way through this Apostle of Craving?
That would have been nuts, man. That would have been absolutely nuts. Game's not over yet.
Absolutely not.
Game is not over yet. SPRAYQUAZA does not have lethal. We are getting there, though.
Is a SPRAYQUAZA fear the 7/3 now that he knows that there are effects that can make this 7/3 win?
He's taking the risk, man.
Oh my goodness. Even the heal for 1 here isn't going to be good enough. I want to see MENSOU drop.
Another
Punish
Sarnath.
SPRAYQUAZA.
Oh, my gosh.
Punish him.
Okay. Catalina buys him some time.
Yeah. I wanted to go into the old Shang Tsung there. Finish him.
Finish him.
Finish him. All right. So if this gives the pump, this will be game over. It does not give the pump. But closing in right now. MENSOU needs the top deck of his life to stay in this game. Okay, we'll just get the Star Phoenix back this turn.
Yep, just going for the extra heal there. Lethal on board, just exhausting the play points. Golden Casket will not be it.
That's right. So here we go. All right, healed over any potential win anyway. And we're going to go into a game 3.
Game 3 going into match point between SPRAYQUAZA and MENSOU. What a good series it's been so far. That was a really solid Take-Two game.
Yes, that's really good. And to give you guys some flavor too, SPRAYQUAZA, I remember at the Contenders Cup, he's one of those players, I mean, you even saw it in his interview, right? He's just like very relaxed, very just like, you know, I'm just going to go with the flow. He's the type of player that will get his reps in before the World Grand Prix, but he's also one of those players when he gets there, when you ask him the same questions, he'd be like, yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to go.
Done my work.
Yeah,
We're
I've done
good.
my work.
Just start the game.
Doesn't matter who I'm playing against. We're just going to roll through everybody.
Absolutely.
And MENSOU, of course, one of those hyper-focused players, as you've noticed over these weeks. Not very apt to get on camera and talk before big matches. He likes to stay focused. He likes to get into the game and have no distractions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely one of those more in the cave players. I know I am a lot like this as well when I get into competitive gaming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Before I was casting, of course, I was competing, and I was one of those players who just like I zone in. Once it's match time.
Oh yeah. Get those headphones on. Get the music playing.
No one can talk to me.
Nice. That's very true.
All right, so Dragoncraft now the pick from SPRAYQUAZA. We're seeing the full range of his non-Swordcraft, Forestcraft picks here.
And he's getting some great picks here, too. He had Oceanus available to him. Getting the Dragon Oracle there is nice. We saw an amazing Tartman evolve.
Don't talk to me about Tartman, okay?
Dude!
Tartman's not allowed to be good. Tartman was used to amazing effect, bouncing an ambush follower to actually save a lethal swing.
Oh, yeah.
Last week.
Was it last week or the week before? It might have been the first week.
I think it was last week.
Okay, yeah.
I think
You're
it was
right.
last week. Yeah, it was good times. That's the stuff that we live for.
That's why we get up in the morning.
Yeah, that's why we get up in the morning. That's right. On the other side of the table, of course, we see MENSOU with Swordcraft, another one of the top picks here.
And so we're seeing all 6 unique classes.
Yeah,
not all
definitely
6
a
of the
first.
classes. There's still 2 missing. But yeah, 6 unique classes. Pretty great.
Definitely the most variation we've had in Take-Two over the 3 weeks. I imagine these players will have maybe a little bit more refined choices as they get into the World Grand Prix.
Sure.
It could just be because of the 3 decks that they had to choose from. But of course, in my mind, playing 3 and maybe even in your wheelhouse having up to 4 classes might be a little rough, just because I think you want to hone in on strategies that you think are really good against the entire field. I don't think all of the classes can really claim that. I mean, yes, if you get, like, you know, crazy legendaries that win you the game, you can win with any class.
If you get those neutral, if you get Moon and Sun and Marduk, apparently.
Yeah, Marduk can win games, folks.
But I think that was a really solid deck that SPRAYQUAZA just built. He had the Basilisk Rider and a lot of other cards that Dragoncraft is simply known for in Take-Two.
So I think the departure from Dragoncraft comes down to the mentality. So we've seen from CRUMSION and POTWASHER and ESSIA and players of the like, they go low to the ground, 2s and 3s and 4s, and just try to get the game over early, try to get their value in and just present a nice board going into the end game. Dragon's more of a deck, more so than now, that has access to less 2-drops, but they have a lot of big drops. And they have ramp spells to try to get you to the end game a lot faster, and they play a lot more heavy-costed followers.
True.
So it's a different game plan, and you really have to kind of skirt through the early game to get there, but if you can, you're going to have a lot more big followers than your opponent.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so difficult. Like, just the card Basilisk Rider. 4-drop with 2/2 and Bane. Last Word summons a 1/1 with Bane. That card is just absolutely insane, because in the mid-game, it can just win you that, like, so much pressure just in the mid-game of being able to take off 2 followers that your opponent can throw
it was
down.
honestly the Abyss Summoner of Dragon. The difference is it's a bronze card. You can get plenty of copies of it, and the more of that card that you get, the higher chances of winning you get, because it can just deal with board after board after board. And we've seen games in our previous Take-Two tournaments where players had like 3 Serpent, or not Serpent Drakes, but 3 of the card, and at Basilisk Rider, and just take over the entire game with them. Like, it's very hard to deal with all of their value.
Yep, absolutely. Dragoncraft versus Swordcraft. This is match point. Whoever wins this game will be the winner of the match, and their team will get a point towards the Cerberus statue.
And let's not forget their first win of the Crucible.
That's true.
Get a little bit of confidence going into the World Grand Prix as they get set up for it here in the coming weeks.
So Swordcraft for MENSOU, he's got some solid options. He's got Usurping Spineblade, Tycoon, and Oathless Knight. So a lot of 2-drops, no 3-drops.
Nope, but very good removal in hand. Usurping Spineblade in hand, and of course the Holy Angel that comes down to wreck everybody's face.
Oh yeah, Holy Angel is just one of the staple neutral cards of Take-Two. I mean, like, it just fits in every single deck. Turns out, being able to just spike out one of your opponent's followers and have a 6/6 remain on your side is pretty good.
It's pretty good, and if your only follower to actually deal with it is also neutral, hard time to actually get through it.
Oh yes, oh yes, yes, yes.
Ooh, multiple Tycoons here, so good early game and good late game if any of these Tycoons are held for the later game. Same thing for SPRAYQUAZA now, coming into a few Servant of Disdains here for some value against a board of 1/1s.
That's really nice.
This might just force the Spineblade.
I think it absolutely does.
Yeah. Now, of course, the second Spineblade, or I'm sorry, the second Servant of Disdain, going to be a threat as well. But we see MENSOU coming into another Holy Angel here. Was that a blade he got?
It was a blade. Yep, Gilded Blade.
Okay. All right, not bad here. Yep, Servant blade.
MENSOU clearing off the Servant. Just kidding, he's back.
I've got more Servants, thanks. All right, and more Luanes. So both players getting a lot of their value cards here. I like this. If you notice, a lot of these Take-Two decks, even if they are different classes, are going to feature a lot of the same cards because of the neutrals that are pretty much played ubiquitously across any of the classes, as well as just similar-looking curves. A lot of things to do in the early game and later phases. It looks like this Dragon deck isn't so heavy, actually, so very much fine with playing into the early game here. There we go, Evo on the Basilisk Rider. Very good target for an Evo because it doesn't matter how big the follower is that Evo's over it. It will succumb to this awesome Bane trigger and destroy the enemy follower.
Trades into the 1/1 instead of the 2/2. Was there any specific reason for that?
Not 100% sure, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. 100% sure that it was because of Luane. Luane creates the 2/1 with Storm that can then just run into it. And he doesn't want a non-Evo follower running into this. He wants to get as much value out of it as he can.
Well, but Lwayne is a fanfare. It's not a last word.
So that's what I mean. So he knows the 2-1 with Storm is in hand,
Right.
which could have taken out the X2 as opposed to an X3.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yep.
All right, so just kind of a pass turn here, dealing with the board, not getting anything out there, giving MENSOU a little bit of the tempo here, finding time to play his Lwayne or the Bro family cards, and building up to that pyramid attack, which is a very, very good card in Take 2. 9.56 with Rush and Ward that has 2 effects. It can heal you for 2, or it can pump your entire board for 2, which is insane.
That's absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever seen the 3 members of the 3 brothers and the pyramid attack on the field at once.
I don't think it's possible. Very hard for that to actually happen.
Very, very difficult.
Maybe if you do it on turn
Pretty
9,
cool,
turn
though.
10, and your opponent doesn't do anything, and they all get pumped, that would be even
Your
better.
opponent just passes?
Yeah.
I'd like that.
They're just like, I want to see what you could do. Bro family, what are you made of? All right. Ooh,
that's
hello. That's one of those slap yourself in the face and be like, oh, man, Swordcraft. I love it sometimes. That's one of those legendaries we were talking about that can just win the game by itself
Absolutely.
in Latham.
Being able to attack, generate followers. When you attack, generate 1/1s with Storm every time you attack. Very, very strong card, that Latham. And MENSOU can still play the Usurping Spineblade to try to get some rush from some Gilded Boots.
That's true. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure that Latham's coming out on 8. Might want to see something more like a goblet or a necklace just to be able to pump followers or heal, something to that effect. But we're going to see. We're going to see what he decides to go with here. I don't mind any of I mean, this is one of those turns where I really don't mind any of the plays he has. Playing a Tycoon this turn to draw cards, playing the Spine Blade to remove, plus playing another follower like the Holy Angel, just to, again, supplant this huge follower that needs to be dealt with right before you play the Latham. Force your opponent to Evo it before you play your 8-7. But it looks like he's just going to play out to the board a little bit smaller.
Pretty good, yep. MENSOU saves the Evo Orb for the Latham next turn. That's very, very strong.
Tailwind now in the hand for SPRAYQUAZA gives him a nice removal spell for the late game.
Scott H is a really great play here, buffing up the Somniferous White Worm.
We finally get to see a little bit of power from Skathage here.
I know, right?
Yeah, not generally played in any deck, but in Take 2, a lot of value, as you saw. 6 play point for a 4 follower that buffs another dude +2/+2. Very good stuff. Makes Latham a little bit harder to play, but not really. You're still at 20. And this is where SPRAYQUAZA is like, really? Really, bro?
Really, man? You gotta do me wrong like this?
You gotta play a Latham here? Come on, man. Come on.
There is going to be a 6-attack follower remaining on the side of SPRAYQUAZA, but again,
I think that's fine. That's a fair trade-off. Yep. And now you have to deal with this 10-3 and basically free 1/1s that pop out. So how Latham works and what makes it such a great card, as you noticed when he attacked, a 1/1 Storm follower came out. So he summons 1/1s, and he gives the effect that whenever you play something that costs 1, it gives it Storm. So essentially all those followers get Storm, and anything you play out of your hand that costs 1 also gains Storm. A little bit less relevant in Take 2, but still something to be aware of. This is a Pump Dragon deck. That
is a big white worm.
Mesozoic, man, what is it? Mesozoic
It's a
era,
weird word.
along with Skathage. A lot of pump effects in this deck to actually just push for damage here. And now MENSOU has to contest with this huge follower that can grow again next turn.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
Latham isn't good enough.
So what does MENSOU have available to him? He has
card
Pyramid
draw.
Attack. He has
He has
card
Pyramid
draw.
Attack. That's true. I think Pyramid Attack might just have to come down.
You could trade the Knight into... Ooh.
You can clear the board here with a Pyramid Attack.
Yeah, you can.
So again, ordering, very important for cards like Latham. You trade this 1/1 into the 2/2. You play your Rush follower, trade into the 8/4, and then another 1/1 pops out. The one side effect of Latham, if you can call it a side effect, is if you have one of these 1/1s out, it will not summon another 1/1 when you attack.
Yep.
So you have to get rid of them first.
If you have a Knight on your side, then it doesn't summon another Knight. Correct.
So here we go.
Oh, nice. It's a 2/1.
And he got the buff.
Didn't really need the buff. Healing probably would have been a little bit nicer, but still that clears the board. This gives SPRAYQUAZA an open board to throw down this armored troll along with 2 dragon's nests.
That's pretty sweet.
So
now get some card draw and some heal all in one.
Yeah, so armored troll cannot attack enemy followers that don't have ward. Can only attack the enemy leader.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where you want to be. especially when you have a pump spell in hand. This is a lethal setup that we see on SPRAYQUAZA's board. So MENSOU has to remove or get above 12.
He can with this. Oh, he can evolve the frontline Cavalier. That's nice.
That is pretty sweet. He can heal. He will get 2 1/2s with Storm.
Plus another 1/1.
Yeah, so that's 3 plus 4 is 7. So he can deal with the 8/7. Very good stuff. And he gets to heal 1 more. I would probably attack with one of these 1/2s first.
He'll still get.
Oh, he still gets to heal.
So
Okay,
he can trade the knight in now, the 1/1.
Yep.
And then the other 1/2. This is why Latham is so strong.
So good. Man, we've seen a lot of cards just like be so stellar in Take 2. This is just awesome.
MENSOU just dealt with that whole board.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Dealing with Latham in the late game as your resources keep dwindling is pretty tall order. Yikes. All right, so get rid of the big follower. Getting rid of one of these Dragon's Nests. Interesting that the Dragon's Nest were held on to this long, but you know what?
Yeah.
But whenever you can get the heal in the card draw, it's perfectly fine. Oh, man.
That's another great draw there.
MENSOU with these cards. My goodness.
My gosh.
And he's got the perfect number of blue cards in hand. Yeah, Gilded
That's
not
nice.
bad. Let's see, can he do
Gilded
anything?
Boots,
He could play one of these Tycoons out, but I don't think that's what you want to be doing.
He can play the Holy Angel.
Can't play the Holy Angel, but I think he wants to loot this turn to get rid of the 4/4. But double looting isn't huge this turn.
Yeah. You'd just be playing the spells to get rid of the 4/4, not gaining any real effect.
I think that's fine. Honestly, at this point, MENSOU has infinite value with the Latham going. I think just keeping your opponent's board clear is a great strategy.
And he could just play both Tycoons, but then yeah.
I honestly just don't mind the boots here either, if you want to go that way. Okay, interesting. And he is going to play a Tycoon. Okay. All right. Says, you know what? I don't need that much card draw. Who cares? I got bored.
Ooh, that was nice. Okay, can't play both those cards this turn, but can play some Bane and Ward and buff it up.
I like this. It's very good.
That was very, very strong.
Now Apostle must be the trade into this if MENSOU wants to deal.
Ooh.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Just had a guttural reaction.
But yeah, MENSOU's deck is ridiculous with the legendaries and golds that he got. So Celia, another one of these great cards, does have to deal with this ward first, but now an endgame is in sight. It's one of those cards that's insane in Take 2 as well, just because you can get more value from the cards that you have. So he can actually just bounce this Apostle back to his hand if he wants to.
It's true.
And deal with the ward. Or he can fill up the board if he likes.
Oh, he's
And
going to get some Storm.
He gets some Storm. This is very good stuff, too. This is the other half of it, where you just get two followers, and again, with Latham out, they get Storm, because they are 1-drops. Just clear the entire board and just get a bunch more value. Yeah, that was just a gut reaction to immediately seeing Celia. My goodness.
I think we all felt that.
Yeah.
I think we all had that.
Oh, my goodness.
Still play the Holy Angel down if he wants.
Yeah, I think this game is more than over. Unless SPRAYQUAZA has some way to deal with a wide board here, which I don't think he drafted. Let's see what he draws here. Gets 2 draws this turn. That Tart Man.
Oh, he can use the Disciple on the Serpent Drake. That's nice. Okay,
That's
that gets him something.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So a little rotation playing here. Gets to build this huge Serpent and then make a copy of the smaller version of it, the 3/2. Does come into another ward, but can't play this turn. And has to contend with, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 damage.
Ooh, Assassination Jitsu. Really great draw there. Nice removal spell.
But still has to deal with all of this free value. Dirty. If you guys feel like you need to take a shower after this game, I wouldn't blame you.
Would not blame you at all, man. Latham. He's putting in work, man. He is paying his rent. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think he pays extra every month.
He pays extra. Landlord
Yeah.
just loves him so much.
Yeah, loves him so much. Yeah, absolutely. He's like, you know what? I'll hire the maids to clean up.
I'll take care of the landscape.
Yeah, I'll take care of everything. And yeah, now we've just got another full hand. We've got Pitfall in hand. I mean, call this one lights out. SPRAYQUAZA, my friend. I'm sorry. He knows the writing's on the wall, and MENSOU's going to pick up his first victory here in the Crucible in take 2.
Well done, MENSOU. SPRAYQUAZA, though, I mean, put up a great performance, obviously, this whole season.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the best players in Pan America. Going to the World Grand Prix, playing against the best of the best.
Absolutely. SPRAYQUAZA's been one of those time-tested players, too. He's been around, like I said, for a very long time. He's always put up good results, and we haven't really seen him in the spotlight, such as going to the World Grand Prix yet, but definitely a chance for him to prove himself. MENSOU, very similar fashion, came out at the beginning of this year, showed everybody what's up, winning an insanely big event out in Tours, France.
Won a huge event, and everyone's like, who won? Oh, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Oh.
who's this guy?
Okay, well, move on.
Yeah.
And then Contenders Cup shows up in a couple months, and he storms through the losers bracket, defeats everybody.
Everybody.
Insane.
Yeah, just really, really great players. Like, I love the players that we have going to the World Grand Prix to represent us this year. A little backstory while we get our next interviews loaded up here for our limited games is last year at the World Grand Prix, we only brought 6 players as well, and we took 4 of them to the top 8 last year.
Right.
And that was
we
the
got
first
second
time.
place.
We got second and third place.
Yeah.
And it was kind of unknown to Japan. They didn't know us. They didn't really consider us as players, that kind of a thing. We showed up and we're like, we're here to play. And that was the first year we were invited. So this year I'm looking for that first. I'm looking for that first place.
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I think, I mean, the World Grand Prix is going to be absolutely insane. Like, we have all the players are now like set in and like locked in for their spots, and so the competition is known to everybody else.
That's true.
And so now the researching starts. Now players know who they could possibly be matched up against.
And the difference this year, I really feel like, will be the Japanese players actually doing their research on the Western players, because they can't take us for granted anymore.
Not at all.
Especially not when $1 million is on the line.
United States
dollars. Okay, $1 million.
Not to mention, there's prizing today as well.
That's true.
It's going to be decided who is going to take home.
Yeah, we haven't even showed them yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, showed up.
All right, everybody. This right here, okay, Luna plushie goes out to all of our losers. We already talked about our winners getting the Cerberus figurine, which is a pretty insane prize in its own right. They're super sought after, very hard to find. But everybody's going home with something.
Oh yeah, definitely massive things on the line here today.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, things that everybody could want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun too, because most of our players, they like the lore, they like the game, they like everything so much about it, that is actually better than a monetary prize to a lot of them. I'm not saying it's better than getting thousands of dollars, okay? But of course, we're having fun here at the Crucible. This is the trial grounds, and they're at least walking away with something.
The trial grounds indeed. So our next match, CRUMSION versus ESSIA in Unlimited.
Oh,
it's going to be great. We've got CRUMSION on the line. CRUMSION, my friend, hello again. It's been a couple weeks. How are you feeling about this match? I mean, you're going to face against your new team member, ESSIA. How are you feeling against that match?
Good match. You know, I play ESSIA a lot in practice, so I think it'll be close. I don't know how Unlimited will go, but hopefully it'll be a good match.
Cool.
That's good. So now playing against ESSIA, I know you guys are friends. You guys have played and talked together a lot. Is there anything spicy for Unlimited that you guys have uncovered? Of course, we see both of you guys playing Holy Bowman Kel Tenko Shrine. Is this just, in your opinion, better than the City deck that we saw over the course of the format the last couple of weeks? Do you think it's just really good against certain lineups? Like, talk to me about this Kel deck.
The Kel deck is pretty solid. It's got a lot of good matchups all around the board. I feel it's a safer deck, especially in best of 5 3-deck affair. And it's a lot of fun, so I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot more than the one you're talking about.
City, yeah, City of Gold, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I still really like City of Gold, but I mean, Tenko Shrine with both you and ESSIA bringing Tenko Shrine, it's obviously a very strong pick. And Storm Dragon, your other list as well, and Mid Shadow, obviously very, very strong pick. So do you have anything that you'd like to say to ESSIA before we go into this game?
Here we go.
Any fighting words?
ESSIA? I didn't prepare anything this time, unfortunately, so hopefully it's a good match. Yeah.
CRUMSION, you know he's going to smack talk you, right? This is ESSIA we're talking about, okay? You got to give him something.
Don't pull any punches.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I mean, so only words I can give is that you know, he's Tempo Storm, but at ANU, there's still a big gap. You know what I mean? So,
There we go.
Nice.
There we go. That's what I like. All right, good luck in your match, Crumsy, and thanks for being on with us. Looking forward to it.
Yep. Good stuff. It's nice to hear. I mean, like now they're freaking teammates.
Yeah, they're all teammates. They're all friends.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's all fun.
Oh, yeah.
They all practice together. They put in a lot of work. When they boot camp together, they play for like 10 hours a day. They like don't see the light
insane.
of day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they go nuts about it. It's
That's
crazy.
I mean, like just like the sheer amount of work that all of these players have put in to training for Shadowverse this entire year.
Yeah, I want to highlight that. Esports is one of these things a lot of players are like, you know, I play games and some people are good and they win tournaments. Players who win put in insane amounts of work. We did a couple interviews over the Contenders Cup where they're like, I train every day. I play 6 to 8 hours every single day.
This is
what
I
I
treat
do.
this like my profession.
It's like their profession, absolutely. And again, with $1 million on the line, how can you not treat it like that?
And not even just $1 million, but everything for all the prizes for second place at the World Grand Prix, third, fourth. That's a lot of money.
Or leading up through the full year, you know what I mean? CRUMSION's one of those players that's put down thousands and thousands of dollars this year into his pocket. Like he's good to go.
Yeah, it's not like first prize is $1 million, second prize zero, nothing.
$0. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of money being handed out. And again, like you said, throughout the seasons of the year, I mean, you have chances to make $10,000 hits, $6,500 hits. A lot of money being thrown around.
A lot of money on the line. So speaking of that, we have ESSIA on the line as well. So ESSIA, thank you so much for joining us. Now we mentioned with CRUMSION about the Tenko list that the two of you have both brought, but you're also bringing, I think, some interesting lists as well. You tell us about some of the lists that you brought.
Hey guys, yeah, sorry, there's some echo. Yeah, no, I decided to bring Neftis because everyone told me to play mid shadows. Nah.
say that again for us. What shadow deck have you brought?
Neftis.
Nephthys Shadowcraft.
I love it.
I love it.
When I actually looked at the deck list for today, I'm just like, ESSIA is giving it to us today. I like it. Nephthys Shadow is something that we all want to see. We haven't seen it for a long while, but we'll get into Nephthys Shadow as well. So, training. We haven't gotten to talk to you last week. Have you been putting a lot of work down? Of course, Thanksgiving was just the other day. Do you think you're getting prepared and will be prepared enough for the World Grand Prix in just a couple weeks here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been mostly sorting out stuff, like in real life before I can leave, so I can leave and like focus completely on Worlds. And yeah, I think I should be ready by then.
Nice. Does Tempo Storm have any boot camp plans for the World Grand Prix? Y'all meeting up as at a kind of LAN environment before the World Grand Prix?
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know if we will have time, but hopefully we can get there before, like a week before, and start practicing.
Cool, very cool. So do you have, before we go into the match, we'll let you get focused in. Do you have any words for CRUMSION, for your new teammate? Do you have anything you'd like to say before you go into this match?
Sorry, what?
We need you to smack talk CRUMSION right now. You got any friendly words for him or otherwise before you get into this match?
Oh, I mean, like right now you can see my connection is not very stable, so I'm a bit worried about that because really that's the only way I can lose, I think.
There we go. That was a very subtle way to do it, ESSIA. You're awesome. Good luck in your match, my friend. We look forward to it.
Yeah. The only way I could lose is if I DC. He said that so nonchalant.
Yeah,
too.
that's why I had to like CRUMSION throw a couple fisticuffs because we knew ESSIA was gonna throw some heavy burns.
That was really nice. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. I still like the rivalry that the EU guys have with the NA players of the skill gap thing that they have going on. I think it's super fun. But again, these guys are teammates, and it can get rough. As we heard, there's a human element to this, right? Yeah. So they want to be playing Shadowverse every day. They want a boot camp, but sometimes, there's holidays in the mix. There's a lot of our players are still students. Yeah, so a lot of things they have to juggle in their lives, but they still manage to make it work.
So I just realized this is an interesting consideration. So all the players from Pan America are from America, and Thanksgiving's an American holiday, and
that's true. And
so this past week, I'm sure players have been on vacation with their families and whatnot because that's a big holiday weekend.
That's true. I just asked a Frenchman about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean
that's the American in me.
I don't think
everybody celebrates Thanksgiving.
It's a great holiday.
Yeah,
get some good turkey and.
Hey, let's talk about the deck list, okay? Let's take the focus off of me, okay? All right. So we've got, of course, like we talked about, Nephthys Shadow, Aggro Dragon, and this Kel Tanko deck. That's really fun. And then on the other side for CRUMSION, we've got mid-range Shadowcraft. Really the only difference here, just basically a control Shadow versus a mid-range Shadow. So far, I want to say, if my experience serves correct, Nephthys Shadow destroys mid-Shadow.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if that's
dicey.
different in Unlimited because all the cards are way more powerful than they used to be,
right.
but at least the engine in the end of the game is a lot better for them.
That's right. Don't forget, you can vote on who you think is going to win the match. CRUMSION or ESSIA, exclamation point vote. CRUMSION or ESSIA for who you think is going to win the match. And we'll showcase that during the match. I really like to see how the community feels about some of these
This
players.
one's going to be a tough one. I don't know who people are going to like in CRUMSION versus ESSIA. My gut tells me
I have
CRUMSION.
a gut. I've got a gut feeling.
Yeah, my gut tells me that. But the other cool thing about this matchup here that we've got going is the Kel deck. So what is this Kel Tanko Shrine deck? So a lot of you might be familiar with what Tanko Shrine does. You play this amulet that says whenever you heal yourself, you deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Kel also has an effect where it deals 2 damage directly to the opponent whenever you heal, and it has things like Pegasus Sculpture and now White Fang Temple, and it sets up this big board of just heal at the end of turn effects. You play a Kel or multiple Kels, and you just blast your opponent.
Not to mention De La Fee.
That's true, and De La Fee has been added to the deck, so it's actually an OTK setup combo at the end.
Yeah.
You can combo somebody for 20 damage. It is possible in this game, or upwards of just a ton of damage if you need to actually take care of them, alongside just a really solid Tenko list.
So both of the Tempo Storm players have brought that list, but I want to take a look at ESSIA's Nephthys Shadow list to see exactly. This was the first deck that I ever played in Shadowverse so many years ago. It's probably, yeah. This is so strong. So Nephthys is an 8-cost follower. It puts different followers of different costs from your deck into play, and then destroys those followers. So that's why you have cards like Kawi, like Mordecai, followers with incredibly strong last word effects so that they're activated when Nephthys is played down.
So the first thing to notice about a deck like this is what costs do you play? And this is definitely a departure from what we're used to seeing. He's got 2 drops, 5 drops, 7 drops, and 8 drops. So what that means is he wants to pull 2 5s, 7s, and 8s. And that's it, essentially. That's all he wants to be playing. So generally we see 2 and 3 drops, maybe 2 and 4 drops. Now we're seeing the 5 drop with the new Cerberus because it summons 2 followers that come into play and die. Now, of course, with ordering, I'm not really sure how that works. Do they get banished if they're summoned on the far right? Does it block other followers from coming into play?
I think Cerberus is a fanfare effect.
Oh,
so it's
right.
not
so
activated.
it doesn't activate.
Doesn't
so never
activate
mind.
when Nephthys
So
comes in.
realistically, just wants Cerberus to play as a card. Doesn't really care if it gets pulled as one of the cards.
I think the main consideration is just getting that Mordecai out on turn 8.
Yeah, getting Mordecai out along with Kawi to clear board. It's just a really strong effect. Basically, you see your opponent kind of destroy your board. You get a 5/5 that just never goes away and things like that. So really strong deck.
Let's take a look at CRUMSION's Tinko Shrine list here. This is a list that both Tempo Storm players chose to bring. Of course, 3 copies of Tinko Shrine, of course, and the Holy Bowman Kel, I think, is what really sets this deck apart in Unlimited.
That's right. That's right. The cool things about this deck, beyond just what we talked about, in the fact that it has a really strong mid game because it's Tenko Shrine. It has a really strong late game because it has combo with Kel. It also has a really strong late game with Heavenly Aegis. It's a card that honestly, why would you not play one of it in Unlimited?
Sure.
If the game goes long, you and your opponent have just been trading cards back and forth all game. Realistically, you just play this big 8/8 that can't be dealt with, and then you can just finish off your opponent regardless of the situation.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. Of course, it's not destroyed by Themis' Decree and all those effects. So, yeah, you can. When the game goes late, it's the strongest deck in Unlimited.
Yeah, you just,
at least.
you play it down, and there is no answer to your big follower. You have a clock on your opponent now, and they have to win the game before it can crunch you.
Now with ESSIA's aggro sword list, which, I mean, we'll see it when he plays it, but it's a weird-looking list.
It's amazing,
It's
though.
like,
Aggro sword is so good on Unlimited. I think, honestly, and I might still be way out of left field for most of the players that like to play Unlimited, I think triple aggro is still the way to go in Unlimited. I think aggro is so fast in Unlimited that if your opponent makes any missteps, if they don't get the perfect draw, you really just bowl them over. Now, I of course, am not a fan of playing aggro decks, so it's a lot for me saying this. I usually like the mid-rangey control decks, like ones that transition to control from a mid-range start. But aggro decks in Unlimited, like I play against them, it feels so rough.
It's nice.
They kill you on turn 5, they kill you on turn 6. You're still not even able to play the endgame cards that you really want to get to. So I think aggro is really great, but a lot of good players, you know, myself not included in those ranks anymore, choose to go with mid-range and control, even in the limited.
Oh,
so
you're too modest. You're too modest, my friend.
it's okay. It's okay. I'm ready to see these players get to it.
I'm ready to see it as well. Yeah, I think Teiko Shrine is going to be a great deck to see. Aggro Dragon as well as a very, very strong deck. Hippogriff, it was actually announced that Hippogriff is being adjusted up to 6 cost.
Was that the announcement? 6 cost?
Yeah.
Was the adjustment?
Or,
I mean,
or maybe it's going up in cost.
it's going up in cost. I don't know exactly. I don't think they've announced specifically what cost, but any cost change going up is a huge effect to that card, especially 6. If it goes, I mean, 6, honestly, it doesn't matter where it goes above 5, but if it goes to 6, then it's contesting the same slots as Ina and as Forte.
Yes.
So now
Yes,
it's
yes.
just, it's following that same path of Swordcraft or Shadowcraft, where every good card that you want to play is the same cost at the end of the curve, and you have to make a choice.
Yep, a very difficult choice indeed. So we're seeing a Tempo Storm on Tempo Storm match, ESSIA versus CRUMSION. This is the first game, and we're seeing Aggro, or no, we're seeing Aggro Dragon into Teiko Shrine.
Ooh!
This is gonna be a nice match.
I think CRUMSION lost the first battle of these matchups. So how rotation is played, 3-deck no ban, which is how it will be in the World Grand Prix, is you have to select one of your decks going first, or for your first game, or in any game for that matter, at random essentially to your opponent. Your opponent has no idea what deck you're going to play,
right?
As well as what you're going to play. So realistically, I think this is the worst matchup for Aggro Dragon in the fact that ESSIA got to play his heal/defensive deck against, I believe, the best deck that it could play against, and just the fact that it can stop this crazy rush that Dragon has.
It can definitely stop it, and ESSIA has the cards required to do it. Blackened Scripture, Monastic Holy Water is going to get some nice heal early in the game, and Pegasus Sculpture as well is going to be really, really difficult for CRUMSION to actually gain any kind of serious pressure with those cards in hand for ESSIA. So really, really strong draws from there.
That's true, and you see the Kel being played out as a 2-drop here. Against any aggro deck, your deck kind of morphs. It isn't the same deck that it used to be. It's not. It's no longer this control combo Kel deck. It is, I need to play to the board, remove as many followers as I possibly can on curve just to stay alive, and then maybe we can transition into the game plan that we wanted in the first place.
So ESSIA, I think, has the cards that he definitely wants to see. I mean, even just throwing down the Pegasus Sculpture here.
I think it's too slow. I think it's too slow.
Okay, yeah.
I think this turn is mandatory Blackened Scripture along with that globe that was freshly drawn.
Yeah, getting the globe right to go along with the Blackened Scripture, I think that definitely makes it a very strong play there.
Yep. Against a deck that has so many Storm Followers, it's one of those things where you just have to concede the fact that they are going to beat you if you don't stop them.
Yep.
So you just have to remove as much as you can. But ESSIA actually going to slow down and play a Moriai, so it will remove a follower in 2 turns, but it means some extra damage to the face is happening here. Now, in saying that, look at CRUMSION's hand here.
Not much to do. Just a Goblin. Force the Dragonoot maybe to get an extra point of damage, but
there's no turn 5 either.
Yeah.
What happened to his curve? So there's a cost analysis here to playing so many 6 cost and 5 cost Storm Followers.
Sure.
Sometimes you don't get your early curve.
Sometimes you draw the card that you can't play.
Can't
play until then.
You can follow rule number 1 of Shadowverse, but not rule number 2. Of course, rule number 1 being draw the cards in your deck. Rule number 2, play the cards from your hand.
Is that it? I thought it was flip-flopped. I thought it was rule number 1, play the cards in your hand. Okay, yeah.
You know what? It could be either way.
You're right. It could be
either
either
way.
way.
The rules are interchangeable.
Yeah, yes.
We haven't written them down yet. We haven't made the holy Bible of the rules yet.
Certainly haven't made the T-shirts.
Yeah. The T-shirts aren't out yet. We need to make the T-shirts. That way we can wear them. We could always remember.
Oh, that would have been such a good idea.
Yeah, that's all right. For next year. For next year.
He does play the Force of the Dragonoot there.
I don't mind it. It's just curve conscious. Basically what he's saying is I'm hoping to draw something I can play next turn. Because he is losing out on a damage from the Force of the Dragonoot, not enhancing it for 5. Would have dealt 2 instead of 1. And this is a great turn. ESSIA has Evo point plus Blackened Scripture this turn.
Very good. Gets the Bane off of the field. Oh, man. I think CRUMSION was hoping for a little bit more out of the Dragoon Scyther.
This is looking dicey. Now, this is not unwinnable for CRUMSION here. He's got 2 Fortes in his hand with 2 Evo points, which means 14 damage.
Yeah, it's true.
But, of course, we know ESSIA has heal in his hand. He's got Pegasus Sculpture, Monastic Holy Water, the freshly put into hand Unicorn Spear. A lot of things to draw, or heal, rather.
Let's see what the draw is going to be. Dragon Summoner, not bad.
Okay.
Oh, Dragon Summoner, okay, gets a board.
Filled out the curve. Will he get a Disciple of Disdain? Let's go.
Oh,
My powers are
gosh.
back, baby.
Oh, wow.
They never fail.
That's very good. Now, does CRUMSION Evo face here?
I don't think so. Oh.
I think it is. I mean, it's
Okay.
a turn before Themis' Decree.
It is a turn before Themis' Decree. However, this Moriai is popping. Evo points are going. Pretty easy 3-4 to deal with here. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
CRUMSION
That's what you get. That's what you get, CRUMSION.
Yeah.
Okay. Evoing in the face of a Moriai, you know the downsides.
25% chance there. Man, what a bummer.
All right, so another Unicorn Knight out, another Unicorn Spear added to hand. Board is dealt with, and healing is happening. And I think this will just be a full board clear. You don't need to go super early aggro with this Haven deck, of course.
Yep, very, very true. CRUMSION does have 2 Fortes that are going to start coming down.
Yeah, Forte number 1 will happen right now. Absolutely. I don't think this one will be Evo'd because it can be attacked. He is not an overflow yet.
True, true, very true.
Plus, it does force ESSIA to have another heal spell next turn, which he knows about the Unicorn Spear, but you really want to use that on an X1.
Yeah.
But again, he has the Holy Water.
Huh. Or, so ESSIA has a relatively large board, you know, two medium-sized followers.
That's true.
Maybe just throw down the 2 Dragon Aficionados.
You know what? I can see that play as well. So what that play is essentially saying is attack me for 6 and play your Themis' Decree and reset the board before overflow.
Before I throw down my followers so that I have overflow for both of the Fortes. Okay. Huh.
And there's an interesting thought here. Now, of course, we know there's no Themis' Decree, and as a matter of fact, the 2 Aficionado play might actually be better here. But he's going to go with the Forte. Set up a lethal for 2 turns. Also good stuff.
There is a Tinko Shrine now. I think it's a little slow right now, especially ESSIA knows, okay, if he has another Forte, I've lost the game, unless I heal this turn.
Yep, so a heal spell will have to come. He's got plenty of them, right? All he has to do is heal for 1. The maximum damage that this Dragon deck can do with an empty board is 7 with an Evo point, at least on turn 7. See what he decides to do here. A lot of resources. Got to pick and choose how you want to deal with this.
Sure, yeah, you can trade, and then maybe use a Monastic Holy Water, get some more draw as well.
I don't mind the Pegasus Sculptures either. Pegasus Sculptures trade with a 3/3 and just go face.
That's true.
That way
establish,
you
yeah, establish some healing for next turn so that Tinko Shrine has something to use with.
And of course, it doesn't just heal you, it heals your full board, so the 3/4 back to a 3/5. And I think this is looking pretty close to lights out for CRUMSION already. Generally speaking for decks, there is a hill that you need to climb against an aggro deck in order to firmly put yourself on top. And I think ESSIA is most of the way there. Of course, I suppose with another Forte draw, is there a potential win? So if he plays this Forte, knocks his opponent down to 4. Double heal from Sculpture puts him to 6. And then Holy Water puts him to 8. That's true. Galmu is there. And it can deal 3
damage, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Those Pegasus Sculptures are going to be taken every turn, though. The 3 damage this turn is not really going to amount to much. I think you just have to go with the Forte and hope your opponent doesn't have a Monastic Holy Water. I think that's the plan. If the plan was Forte last turn, I can't imagine it deviating this turn.
Yeah, Forte Evolve definitely seems like the best play here.
Yeah, I don't even think you evolve here. I think you just get the 5 damage in. You know your opponent has the Unicorn Spear. Save the Evo point for a potential, something else.
For a longer reach, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is tough though. When you're staring down multiple heal engines, yep, I think this is the only thing to do. He is going to Evo. All right. Says, you know what? I want to get the 2 points in now, just to assure that I get them. He knows on board Galmu isn't lethal, at least at the moment.
Themis' Decree might come in handy.
Water.
Okay, so he still has the Unicorn Spear. Looks like that's going to be the choice here.
Got to get rid of this unattackable follower here.
I love the animation for cards that can't be attacked.
There we go.
Aura around them, it's so cool.
That is true. It is one of the coolest effects in the game. I think right along the same lines as Aegis. I think Aegis' effect is pretty.
Oh yeah,
pretty
Aegis
crazy.
is pretty cool.
You can't attack it. You can't target it. You can't do anything to it. Very cool aura. We say ESSIA on his turn. Stop really quick from playing the Unicorn Spear first and getting his card draw in first, like a good player. That's what that's what you do.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Draw your cards,
then do your thing.
Then do your things. Because options could open up. There we go. Galmi will be played to spike some damage. He's drawn at least damage sources off the top of his deck, so he's keeping ESSIA relatively low.
Keeping ESSIA very low, but ESSIA's putting in the work. He's staying alive.
Sure, does he have any other options here? I think this might just be
Tenko Shrine Pegasus?
I think so. I think you just get as much heal on the board as you possibly can. You start getting some engine down so you can deal some damage, because right now he doesn't have a Holy Bowman Kel. Doesn't have any other way to deal damage.
So he'll heal up to 6. Yeah, so another Forte won't be it.
Yeah, 7 even.
Oh, 7, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you did play the 3rd.
Now, of course, the way Tenko Shrine works, it will eat up all damage if your opponent has any followers. So you've got to be able to get rid of the followers before you go super ham with the Tenko Shrine if you want to get the damage in, but I think that's fine. This is a great setup turn.
Yeah, now ESSIA is in a wonderful position to win this game. CRUMSION does not have the options to get the damage in. ESSIA has the Themis Decrees waiting. He has Godsworn Alexia. He has Ward available to him.
Yeah.
Not to mention Morier's popping next turn.
A couple turns ago, I think the hill was reached. Now, of course, CRUMSION was doing his best off the top to try to keep it close. But the first turn, this being right now, that he can't deal damage, the healing is just going to get a little overboard. Now, of course, even in saying that, ESSIA has no more heal in hand. He has no end game outside of this Alexiel. So it's not like he's running away with this at all yet.
That's true.
Interesting turn here to play out all of the drops, considering they're all just going to get eaten by the Tenko Shrine. Maybe he just wants to prevent the damage to face to extend the game.
I guess, yeah. There's still an evil point for ESSIA, of course. Only one follower in hand to use that on. That's true. That's just going to end the turn right there.
Yeah, back up to 10, clear the board. Okay, an easy way to deal with this Godsworn Alexiel. Now you don't just have to force your Galmu into it. Pegasus Sculptures will go away, 2 of them anyway, at the beginning of the next turn.
Sure, sure.
And there's no fuel left for ESSIA. He's got a few card draw effects in his hand. Nothing too relevant yet. Definitely looking for something like an Aegis.
Now the Globe can help him cycle through the deck, but again, yeah, you're right. There's nothing else to really, no De La Fee, no significant in-game factors working for him aside from the Tenko Shrine, which is already established, and the Godsworn Alexiel, which is going to help him stay alive.
Absolutely. So Godsworn Alexiel, why it's so powerful, especially in Unlimited, is the fact that it's a nice big-bodied ward, and if you ever have an amulet in play, it reduces the damage you can take on your turn to 4. So big damage spikes all get reduced, and Tenko Shrine being a shrine without countdown will most likely always be in play.
True. Certainly with the deck that CRUMSION has, there's no amulet removal to be seen.
Here we go. White Frost Whisper used. Deal with the Alexiel. No more ward. Let's see what SE can top deck here. Ah, he's got built-in mirror control with Seraphic Blade. Wants to kill his opponent's Tenko Shrines. Another Tenko Shrine, an okay pickup here. It's going to need some more heal to make this fully effective. Definitely a good play down this turn.
Sure, sure.
Ah, and he will use the Scripture to get the damage in. Wants to start this endgame immediately. And if you notice, Essie is paying very special care to not board locking himself.
Yes,
so
he could have played the other Globe down, and that would have board locked him for next turn.
That's right. So always got to be careful when you're playing a deck that puts amulets in play to not, I mean, even when you're playing followers, really. We've seen so many games of follower board lock actually losing players' games. You got to be very aware of not being able to play anything on your turn.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Uh-oh. Oh. Here we go. Themis, Holy Bowman, say hello to my little friend. Not insane, because
yeah,
he doesn't have like a crazy combo going.
Sure, yeah, that was nice.
But finishing out the game pretty soon here if another heal spell is drawn. And I don't know if CRUMSION's going to be able to draw into anything that's going to finish the game fast enough. We'll see.
I don't know. Ina's nice, but...
Again, reduced to 4 damage. Still a lot, though. Or do you get the Kel off the table? I guess you have the Disdainful Rending. Probably use that.
Yeah, I think you might have to... Well, he can use the Ina... He can use the Disdainful Rending on the Ina.
I think you want to keep it at 5 and probably get rid of one of the 1/1s.
Okay. Okay.
Gives you a better chance for the Aina to survive.
That's true. That's true.
Of course, we know ESSIA has another Themis' Decree.
You challenge me?
Yep, thinking about it. Probably auto-fingering the, or auto-locking onto the Aina here, but then reconsidering as he doesn't want to get the damage on there, but he does. Okay, we'll target the Aina here. It does keep him with potentially more followers to attack over the course of a few turns, and it does protect his Aina from Moriai, so a lot of considerations this turn to think about. Okay. Does miss the Aina here.
It's nice.
And now I think ESSIA's got to lead with the globe here. He's got to find something. Got to lead with his globe here. Got to find something. The problem is you get the White Fang Temple that you want, right? And then you board lock yourself.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was...
I think you just have to Seraphic Blade here. I think you can wait. It's getting rough, though. No, he is going to play White Fang.
Oh, he does.
Okay. All right, so this will clear board with the Seraphic Blade as well, so this works. Clear board, get the heal down. Good stuff.
Okay, and ESSIA can still Themis' Decree next turn. And oh, yeah, with that. That is, yeah, that's going to be game for ESSIA.
Finally found the win. So, like I was saying, this matchup probably the roughest for Aggro Dragon. This is, I mean, as CRUMSION was saying before the match even started, there are a lot of good matchups that this Tenko Shrine deck does have, and this is definitely one of them.
Absolutely. Okay, so CRUMSION, not out of the deck. He can still use the Aggro Dragon list,
Of course.
to try to get a win against Sword or against Nephthys Shadow.
Honestly, the most interesting match to me, because I don't play either of the decks on ladder. I don't play either Aggro Dragon or Aggro Sword. I think they're great for tournaments, but for ladder play, I want to play fun decks, especially in Unlimited.
Look at ESSIA's his name.
Trash talking even without speaking.
Wow, doesn't even need to say it.
Yeah, great,
That's
great
nice.
stuff, great stuff. But I don't actually know who wins the aggro matchup. I don't know. Obviously, going first is a great boon, but I'm not sure who's actually advantageous or who has the advantaged spot in that matchup. We'll see. All right, so Shadowcraft versus Dragoncraft now. So ESSIA just trying to take down this Dragoncraft deck every which way it can. Shadowcraft also has an okay matchup against Dragon.
Pretty good, pretty good. Okay. This is probably might want to keep the Mishusu. I'm thinking for CRUMSION just to have a 2-drop and see what else you can, what other kind of curve you can build by getting rid of the Galmuse.
Yep, and this deck not being mid-range Shadowcraft from ESSIA, if you guys remember, it is Nephthys Shadow, so plays along the same lines as the Tenko deck did. It will have a very slow start. I mean, differently with Shadow, it has a different start. It might have small followers, but those followers can heal, they can deal with boards, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Gets into a slower mid-game, and then kind of ends with Nephthys to take control of the board. And wow!
Whoa!
That was not expected.
That is not what I expected
A lot of
at
European fans out there in the crowd today. I love it. ESSIA getting the vote. Man, ESSIA is top dogging it on all of our polls.
Seriously, man.
I think the only poll he lost to was the crowd favorite so far, which seems to be Potwasher.
Potwasher, yeah.
Everybody loves.
Okay, so Potwasher than ESSIA. Nice.
All right. They're like, you know what? This methodical European who trash talks like a master. Better than the hotshot CRUMSION over here, who's been winning most of the tournaments.
He's pretty good at trash talking, man.
He's pretty good. All right, so much better curve here this game from CRUMSION. Nice 1-2 into a full board before he gets to his 6 drops.
Has a Disciple nice and early to get some draw. Fills up a very threatening board here.
That's exactly what
very
you want to
early.
be doing.
Yep. So ESSIA has a zombie party. It's gonna help him clear off one thing, but ooh, getting a Moon and Sun.
That's actually a super sweet pickup.
Yeah, that's the only one that he has in his deck.
Yeah.
Right on turn 3.
Right on turn 3. Why you play this in a deck like this is just so that you can have spells to play early if you don't have your 2-drops, or if you need to heal, if you need to get a few extra points of damage in the late game. It's a very slow deck, and having a Moon and Sun in a deck like this just feels really good. And yeah, I like the value trade here. Of course, you always want to trade with as much damage as you can. However, trading into the Mishusu, you don't get any value off the back end of Belenus' Last Words effect.
True.
So I think the value trade is very much warranted here. Especially now that you have guaranteed heal. Almost guaranteed heal with the Moon and Sun.
Another Dragon Summoner came in the hand for CRUMSION, so he can draw more this turn along with the Disciple, so he can keep his hand nice and full this turn if he wants. Of course, Force of the Dragonoot is also an option to keep pushing for more damage. I don't know, considering there's a Belinus, I don't know how viable
You'd save
that is.
the Force for turn 5 here.
Yeah,
This is definitely a draw where you know your opponent can keep playing multiple 2/2s. So actually enhancing of this game makes very much sense. And now filling up the board before a Hippogriff Rider before the adjustments feels pretty strong.
Not bad at all.
This is where you cross your fingers and hope your opponent doesn't have Zombie Party and Lady Grey in their hand. You're like, please, please, please don't have these 2 cards. We know SEA has those cards.
Yeah, we know. Oh, yeah. We can see.
Good things. All right, let's see what this Disciple draws. I mean, anything at this point, like a Forte, of course, being the top draws.
Just
Considering.
thinking about which follower to use the Disciple of Disdain on.
Any of the 1/2s feels fine. Really?
All right.
Okay, so he's basically baiting Essia into attacking with his Belinus before an Evo happens, because if you Evo, Mishusu has a pretty sweet ability.
Oh, yeah.
Every time any player Evos, it gets +2/+2.
+2 plus 0.
Oh, no.
It's only +2 attack.
You sure?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. We'll find out right now. So he's going to take...
That would be insane if it got +2/+2.
I thought it did. I thought it was a big boy. Does he get the lucky ping?
Oh,
He does!
Very nice.
CRUMSION allowed it. You can see his head going in the air. That's the second, like,
Oh, yeah.
low percentage chance he's had against him so far.
That's pretty good. Oh, boy, that's a nice bit of healing coming out for Essia with the Lady Grey. Very, very strong turn 4. Can even play down
Yikes.
another follower. Can play down another Lady Grey.
This is
Oh my
already
gosh.
turning into a rough matchup. So now, as you notice, there are other cards that heal, such as the Drain Followers and Lady Grey. There's decent removal in the hand for Essia. And instead of the engine starting with Tenko Shrine, as the Tenko deck did, it starts with Nephthys on 8 when you play the Nephthys. Now, of course, with these more aggressive cards that you can play, like Lady Grey and Cerberus added so much to every archetype of Shadowcraft that just gave them so much flexibility in the early game. Sometimes you can just out-aggro the aggro deck.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is... CRUMSION's in a really rough spot right now. He came into the Galmew, which is a great draw there. I mean, it's going to help him. But, I mean, it's not going to help him clear this whole board. Force the Dragon, you can't even help him clear this whole board.
That's true. 2 followers would survive. The 1/1 only trades into 1. You would leave behind a 3/4 with Drain.
And there's so much healing on the side of SEA. CRUMSION can't just ignore that.
No.
Play down the Hippogriff and then the Aina next turn and just push face over the next couple turns. He can't do that.
This might be a Galmew turn. That might be the strongest play you can make. You attack the 1/1 into the 2/1. Yeah, of course, allow your opponent to heal for 1. Can't really do anything about that. And then evolve Galmew over the 3/4 and hope to hit the Lady Grey.
Yeah.
I mean, that I don't see any other play besides that if you want to stay in this game. But when you're trading your board and your Evos to not go face in an aggro deck, you know
It's
things
rough.
are
That's
not
rough.
playing the way you want them to.
Very, very rough. Is he going to trade into the...
Yeah, so it looks like Force of the Dragonoot instead
Okay.
this turn. Okay. So allowing the drain to happen.
Keeping the Galmew in hand. Okay.
Saving it for later turns, perhaps. And I mean, Essia's just got a curve, right? Now, I mean,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is just easy serve. Easy serve, let's go.
Easy Cerberus. Playing down the figuring that he wants to win.
That's true. You know what? If you get to play this in this last day, you play. I mean, there are a lot of players playing Cerberus. Both of these players in rotation, both players
Yeah,
are playing
that's true.
Cerberus.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to win this figurine. It is the hot card of the rotation.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good leader, good card, good figurine.
It's true.
Cerberus.
And I think this is just a tough spot. I'm not sure if there's anything to play that feels good here.
Yep. And now, taking a step back, it's important to note that if Essia wins this match, that is the victory for Europe.
That's true.
That will be it. Because MENSOU beats SPRAYQUAZA. That'll put him at 5 points if Essia wins. That'll be the figurine. Essia could win the figurine right here.
That's right.
this
So
match.
France could beat America in the Crucible overall. However, our final matchup between POTWASHER and HISHIRO are 2 undefeated players.
That's true.
To me, that's the real championship,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Because the
Oh,
winner of that
yes.
basically is saying, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready to go. I
winner
can
of
beat
that's
all
going to
these
be-
other top players. I'm good to go.
Yeah,
for
either
World Grand Prix.
POTWASHER or HISHIRO is going to be 3-0 throughout the entire Crucible.
That's right.
proving that they can beat the best players in every different format.
Take 2, unlimited rotation against their fellow competitors. And that's got to be something to worry you, too. Like, you've got this competitor even in POTWASHER before you go, or HISHIRO, before you go to Japan.
Right.
And you're like, man, if I have to play against these guys, it's rough. Not even including any of the Japanese players.
Sure, absolutely.
Darling, I'll be home soon.
All right, so Feline coming down to clear off as much of the board as possible and installing a Bane follower just to be annoying.
Oh, man. Another Cerberus right off the top along with the soul conversion.
Hey, ESSIA, slow down, okay? Slow
Give
down.
us a break, man.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you'll see, like, a heavy hand with Nephthys because they play so many heavy cards, right? They've got 3/7 drops. They've got 5/8 drops. Got a lot of expensive cards in their hand, but you know what? When you don't draw any of them and you don't need them, feels pretty good.
Feels pretty good. This is exactly what you want to see out of Nephthys Shadowcraft. Except, of course, for the lack of the Nephthys in Estia's hand. Of course, he doesn't need it,
Still has
at
turns
this
to
point.
draw it, of course, and has Soul Conversion, has Lurching Corpse, has everything you want in Shadowcraft right now. Dragon just not treating Crumsion right at the moment.
It's so cold.
I like this. Get the free ping.
Get the heal.
Yikes.
That is a big board.
Danger, Crumsion, danger.
This is how nature says do not touch. Is this board
Shadowverse
piloted
nature.
by Shadowverse nature?
That's right. Nature can be scary, okay? Especially when it's piloted by ESSIA and it's backed up by the Queen of Shadows here in Cerberus. I'm trying to, I mean, like, Galmu is like the thing that you're just like, I want to slam Galmu here, but it's going to auto ping.
Yep.
And it might run into the 1-2, and then you have to trade it into the 5-3.
Yeah.
I want to
That's
believe
risky.
that Crumsion can get a good hit here. Okay, he's going to play this Galmu.
Essia got a good hit. It's Crumsion's turn.
True. It's going to proc on the 5-3, and then he's going to be able to trade with a 3-3 and take care of this entire board, except for the 1-2, which is fine.
Come on, Crumsion. You got to do it, man. You got to take the chance.
I mean, it's the only play, right? I mean, he's considering anything else, but I think Galmu's the only play here. Okay, he got it. He got it. There we go. All right, so the game is alive. He can actually trade with the 1-1 if he wants to here. It's not like he's afraid of an aggro kill from ESSIA.
Yeah.
I think he's more afraid of just it value trading back into his board in future turns if he does trade with it.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said for just getting off the bigger follower.
It's true. It's true. And you are at 10. It can be kind of scary, but if you notice Essia's hand, not a lot of aggro things to fall back on. However, okay. We could just draw a Kawi.
Draw a Kawi.
That's pretty good.
He's going to draw the Nephthys next turn. That's pretty good.
You don't need to play the Kawi here.
Play Moon and Sun, honestly.
Yeah, Moon and Sun's probably the better choice. Get the heal option. You can even go the damage option.
I like the
since you're
damage
so ahead.
option.
Yeah. Pretty good here. And it will be the damage option. So Moon and Sun, after it costs 3 to make a 2-2 or a 3-1, of course, that either heals or deals damage, can play for 7 to give the follower a big +3/+3 boost, and then still have the same effects as the smaller followers. So now a 6/4 that, if it clashes, will deal 1.
Crumsion is just smiling, man.
Yeah, he's like, what the heck, man? Why am I getting out aggroed by this control deck right now? What the deuce? Nothing he can play even is going to match up with the cards that we see in Essia's hand with Kawi and Lurching Corpse plus a Soul Conversion. He's got Zombie Party. If he needs to heal and fill up the board, he's got Lady Grey. He's got all the options outside of Nephthys in the deck.
Yep. He's got all the options Shadowcraft needs, all the staples we've come to know and love.
I just want to remind you, Essia did state the only way he can lose is if he gets disconnected. Oh, Essia. I can't wait for him to get his jersey, too. Join the squad.
Oh, yeah. He's still not wearing his jersey, man.
Yeah. Probably just because he hasn't gotten it yet. He's the newest member of Tempo Storm.
That's true. That's true.
And, of course, he lives in Europe, so. Yeah, so thinking about the outs for Crumsion here, I think he does need to deal with the followers, right? Playing the biggest Ina possible is probably good. Gonna save the Evo point, though.
Oh, man. Just putting the Moon and Sun back in your opponent's hand, getting rid of your own Ina.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, he could just draw it, too. I mean, he could just have everything.
Wow. To put that in perspective, he had Cerberus on 5.
Cerberus on 6. Top deck the Kawi for 7. Top deck the Nephthys for 8. Now, of course, you're only going to see some of the good parts of Nephthys right here, and the taunt. I love it. It produces a 5/5. So what Nephthys does is it not only summons 4 cards of different costs from your deck, it destroys them when they come into play. So
Sure.
Kawi's effect goes off, which is destroy the biggest enemy follower and heal for their attack. And then this 5/5 that when it dies, it just comes back.
Mordecai, man.
Yeah, so if you can't banish it, it just is there forever.
Mordecai's, man, I think he's my favorite leader out of the whole bunch.
He's pretty cool.
He's a great leader.
He's pretty cool. I mean, he's a skeleton, but he's not like one of those frail skeletons that most games have, right?
No.
There are frail skeletons in this game too.
He doesn't go away, man.
No, he is the king of skeletons, and he is a dark man that will put in a lot of work if you allow him to.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Makes the game very hard to win for CRUMSION, and with ESSIA at 19 defense, he did draw into a Forte. That's some extra damage that night. That's nice, but I don't think that CRUMSION's really going to be able to pull away a win here.
Yep. And Mordecai being what I just stated, about to turn the lights off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
So here we go. Moon and Sun can even Evo for the damage effect if you wanted to. You don't really need to do any of these things. Mordecai essentially saying, I'm going to put you to 1, and if you even want to trade with my board, you're going to lose.
Ouch.
Ouch.
ESSIA goes up 2-0 in the series.
Unbelievable stuff. So unlike Take-Two, you do have to win with all 3 of your decks in rotation, just as in Unlimited. It's, yeah, this is...
So now ESSIA has 3 chances.
3 chances.
To win with Aggro Sword.
So we did see it happen last week. We saw actually CRUMSION come back from a 2-0 loss last week as well against MENSOU.
That's true, he did.
Yeah, in
he
rotation. I'm sorry, this is Unlimited. I was saying it was rotation, but you have to win with all 3 of your decks in it. But yeah, last week he came back in the same exact situation. So can he do it again?
I don't know. ESSIA is a different animal.
Look at just the calm. Like no emotions from him. CRUMSION's over here like
Yeah, CRUMSION's a very animated player.
Yeah.
ESSIA, not so much.
Not at all. Just deadpan. Wearing my white tee, comfortable. Ready to go. All right, so now this aggro sword deck versus aggro dragon. This is the matchup I really wanted to see. See who gains the edge here. Again, going first in an aggro v aggro matchup is usually beneficial. Is that an Iron Rod Fortress?
It is an Iron Rod Fortress. He's
Okay.
got 3 of them.
Okay, he's got some spice in there.
He's got ways to get some heavy knights on his side of the field.
That's right. No 1-drop here from ESSIA. No 1-drop from CRUMSION either just yet. Spoke too soon.
Yep.
Easy 1-drop.
Yep.
Yeah, this is definitely a matchup where you want to just basically push everything to the board that you can, because every point of damage will matter. Both decks have a lot of storm options to finish games off. Swordcraft is a little faster along the curve to finish things off, but it also falls on its face a little bit faster as well.
Sure, that's absolutely true.
Doesn't have the big storm followers, has a accumulation of a decent size of small ones and mid-sized ones.
So ESSIA has a pretty decent curve. Maybe you don't really need the frontline cavalier going first.
No. Still something you'd like to play to force your opponent to Evo into it. Again, any Evos used to destroy your followers and not going face is usually a win.
Yep. CRUMSION has a Feline he can throw down. He has a Dragon Summoner. So either one of those options are great. Getting more removal options in his hand to take things out on ESSIA's side.
Yeah, going first Summoner would probably be the play here if he had board control. Going second, I definitely like the White Frost Whisper. Trade that 1/3 into a potential 2/2 and just clean it off without losing much of your board. And this is a really nice 1/2 punch. Having the 1-drop commander to go along with the Iron Rot Fortress just to produce a board.
That's pretty good.
And value trading and not going face here. Interesting choice when your opponent's left with a 1/3, but you have 2 1/2s left over.
That's true. It's fine.
It's fine.
I trust ESSIA, you know?
This is the first, maybe this isn't really, I mean, this is aggro swordcraft, but it's definitely his own unique version of it, right? Gawain is definitely not a card we see in,
not at all.
swordcraft, at least for a long time. It used to be played alongside Arthur as like the big 1/2 punch.
And support cannon, yeah.
And support cannon, that's right. Gawain being a 3/4 that when you get to attack with it actually reduces the cost of all the commanders in your hand by 1, which ESSIA does have 2 commanders left in his hand, so that might be the play next turn. But of course, he can't Evo alongside of it, so might not get an attack in.
Okay, so CRUMSION chose to play the Dragon Summoner and the Goblin just...
And not trade with the 2-1. Says, we're going to play the trade game. I'm going to let you do that, and I'm just going to go face, because I need to get my damage in. That's interesting.
That is really interesting, considering ESSIA has the bigger follower in that trade. He has the 2-1.
But he knows ESSIA is going to trade. He knows ESSIA is going to feel behind, even though he's going first.
Huh.
And ESSIA indeed will be board trading. Not something I expected.
No, not at all.
Going first with board control every turn, I mean, force your opponent to trade. But ESSIA knows this deck better than me, and he's got plenty of cards that actually support his game plan in Frontline Cavalier, Latham, things like that.
Sure, sure.
How do you pronounce his name? Latham or Latham? I
say
kind of go back
Latham.
and forth.
I say Latham.
Latham?
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Chat, 1 for Latham, 2 for Latham. What do you like? Tell us.
I think Latham is just... I mean, we can call him
It's
that.
like saying Joe Dierte.
Yeah.
And if you didn't catch that reference, I'm sorry, I'm old, guys.
Yeah. I don't think I caught that reference.
You don't? Okay, maybe I'm okay. Well,
Yep.
well then, don't worry about it.
That is quite telling, my friend.
All right. So going into this turn, we have the Evo points activated for CRUMSION here. Not a bad turn to Evo Ayala to start getting ahead on play points. Get your Fortes and Galmus activated a little bit faster here. If you know your opponent wants to board trade with you and you can ramp up to Galmu, feels pretty good.
Now does CRUMSION trade into the Juliet, or does he trade into the Perseus here?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's got access to White Frost Dragonute, or White Frost Whisper this turn as well. Since he's using the Evo on the IL, I doubt he's playing the Feline. So he has the White Frost Whisper, so it depends on if he wants to use it or not. Or if he wants to play down the extra Feline. That's a tough choice.
You can trade into everything and just leave a Heavy Knight up if he wants.
But if ESSIA is okay with playing this slow game plan, I don't know if it's imperative to clear everything that you possibly can, but it looks like he will. And then he goes face.
CRUMSION's going face. ESSIA's trading.
Okay, so at least they're staying consistent with their lines. I like it. CRUMSION's trying to push as much face as he possibly can while managing all the things he feels he needs to.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, 5 play points for ESSIA. He has Celia, but board space is a bit of a problem here.
I think Gawain's probably the play here.
That's pretty good.
It lets, again, all of his commanders cost 1 less. This means that Latham can come down as a 7-drop, which is pretty neat.
It's true.
Celia as a 1-drop isn't really ever going to happen because you're going to save that for a 5-drop more often than not.
And Ironrot Fortress, of course, works very well with Latham's effect. So when Latham comes down a turn early, in 2 turns, then those 1/1s are going to summon 1/2s every time a commander comes into play. And they're going to get Storm.
It's pretty good. And we're in the same situation that CRUMSION was in last game. He's got, like, okay cards in his hand, but he has not been able to maintain board presence. Decided to go face instead of board trading back with ESSIA. And now he's kind of left with just, like, okay things to do. Now, of course, on turn 7, he has Galmu. Or 7 play points, rather. So this is interesting to deal with. You play the other Feline just to deal with the Gawain. You needed to get the Gawain off the table. There's no way you're allowing that to smack twice. If that smacks twice, Latham comes down next turn, and that's not okay.
No, I think you definitely have to get rid of the of the Gawain. I think Galmu's probably the best way to do it.
Galmu is also good here. Of course, you don't want to use Evo points on Galmu if you can help it, but I think it is a pretty good answer. Feline, you'd have to use 4 play points and only establish a 1/3. Maybe he likes saving the Galmu for later. Looks like the Feline will be the play.
Okay. Saving the Galmi for next turn. That's probably the best choice there.
You can see from CRUMSION's posture, he's not too happy about the way the game's going right now anyway. It's kind of been the thing going on for a little while here. ESSIA big head turn, drawing a 1-drop on turn 6.
Yeah. You can get some use out of the Perseus, but not the most use.
I don't mind any of the plays here. I don't mind Frontline Cavalier being evoed. I don't mind Celia filling up the board. I mean, Perseus to add alongside of a Celius feels pretty decent as well. You get to pump out basically just a full board with an Iron Rot Fortress.
I like Frontline Cavalier because you can use the Evo point this turn, get some healing out when you need it. And that way, when you don't have an Evo Orb, you can still use the Celia to get 1/1s after Latham is active.
It's true. And, I mean, that's a the other consideration, too, is that you can play it next turn, the Latham, and then Evo it. So you can actually play it with some tempo.
Yeah, that's true. But again, like with the cards that CRUMSION has been playing, I think ESSIA can afford to do that.
You're
I
right.
think ESSIA can afford to just throw down the Latham next turn a turn early, because he's establishing a board here, and maybe he'll evolve.
ESSIA unsure about what he wants to do this turn.
Yeah, the reduced cost on the Celia does not affect its choose effect.
That's right. Enhance will always be its enhance cost. You cannot reduce that. But it looks like he will use the Storm option and start going face. This is the push, and using Perseus to be defensive here gains ward because the board is full here.
Yep. I think he ran out of time there.
Yeah,
Did
was
not
not able to
attack.
trade.
Yep.
Let's see, what does Galmu do to this board?
It's
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Having a 4 attack ward with 4 defense means that Galmu
Not
can't
quite
trade into that.
the play. Yeah, so ESSIA really figuring out a way to be aggressive and not just lose to Galmu on 7. And by lose, I just mean lose his entire board, essentially. Very good stuff. Stuck with 1/2s and followers that are good enough against Galmu to survive. I like this. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's any clean way to do this, because if you deal 1 damage to the ward, your 2 followers don't trade into it, so you can run Galmu into a better follower. Really awkward spot. All the White Frost Whispers are gone, so dealing with this ward is just a pain in the butt.
And that was a really difficult choice for Messi to make last turn.
Yeah.
To play, to use the Evo Orb on the Perseus there and not on the Latham next turn. But I guess he knew that he would have the pressure and that CRUMSION wouldn't be able to answer it.
It's true. But what else do you do this turn if not Galmu? So do you play the Hippogriff Rider and run that into the ward? But you can't do that because you need to attack with your other followers first unless you want to Evo it. Yeah, maybe just Evo the Servant? Yeah, that feels fine. That feels like the best option, honestly. Got to deal with the ward.
This Iron Rot Fortress has been putting in work.
Put in a lot of work. But CRUMSION's still finding damage here. This is still a huge chunk, putting his opponent down to 10. This is lethal range with Galmu and Forte over 2 turns if that Galmu can deal 3 damage. So I really like this. Of course, he doesn't know Frontline Cavalier's there, but how good is Frontline Cavalier going to be without Evo points? Still fine. Iron Rat Fortress definitely helps with that. Latham definitely helps with that as well.
Yep, very true. Yeah, an 8/7 is pretty big follower in the, against this aggro dragon deck. Not a lot of ways to deal with that.
It's huge, especially after you've seen 2 Felines.
Yep.
Very unlikely a deck that doesn't have a lot of card draw to have all 3 of a singular card. Okay, and it will be played. Again, seeing Gawain in action. ESSIA's doing us all a favor today. We got to see some Nep the Shadow. Get to see some Gawain back in action.
And all the right choices, it seems, from decks for ESSIA against CRUMSION.
Yeah, this Dragon deck just not holding its weight.
It's really not. It is lagging behind.
I mean, if you
it
thought
seems that way.
Yeah, if you also thought that Latham was only good in Take 2, no. This card's
good
everywhere. Unlimited rotation.
I remember when we didn't think Latham was great at all when it first came out. We were like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, maybe you did.
No, everybody did.
I thought it was amazing. I was on day 1 telling people to run 3 of it.
I don't remember you saying that.
Somebody show the clip.
I really don't remember that.
Somebody show the clip. I even highlighted it as the all-star card for the first tournament.
Maybe after we saw
Roll
it.
the clip.
I want to see the clip. I want to see the clip.
Okay, that's all I gotta say. Anyway,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying I'm probably right.
You're definitely wrong, but that's okay. You're definitely wrong. And in any case, getting back to this game, the 8/7 by itself, I don't believe is even able to be dealt with in a proper way. If you're gonna Evo your Forte and run your Goblin into this Latham, you're losing.
Well, he could just Evo the Forte and trade in, but into the Latham.
Oh, that's true. That's right. 7 attack. Yeah, never mind.
But still, it's
Galmu
like if
can
you're
do it too. but you have to trade your board in as well.
If you're evolving your forte to trade into your opponent's follower.
I think you just got to go face and pray. This is the point in the game that we're at. Yeah, just try to deal as much damage as you can. Try to win with forte next turn and hope your opponent just doesn't have it. I like it. This is the game plan from CRUMSION. This is the cross your fingers and pray.
Yep.
We see ESSIA with, let's see, at 9 damage in play. The council, I'm sorry, not the council, but the round table assembly, if there's 2 Juliets left, can pull 2 Juliets, and that'll instantly be lethal. ESSIA
I think that's it. He's used 1 Juliet. I think there's just 2 left.
He's only, I mean, yeah, but I'm not exactly sure how many he's playing.
He can get healing this turn.
Yeah, so maybe there isn't the double Juliet play for instant lethal here. I mean, this is still insane. This is heal plus whiteboard plus extra damage.
Plus extra heal. It was a lot of healing.
A lot of healing.
All those heavy knights, all those knights. There's 1 point of healing with the
What a way
Cavalier.
to use Frontline Cavalier.
Right?
Just all these ways to generate tokens. This is great. Let's see, and there's no more opportunity for CRUMSION to just go face and say, hit me.
That was it? That was... Oh my gosh.
CRUMSION's about to get 3-0'd by ESSIA.
Did that just happen?
Our voters are not wrong. You know, they've been right, I believe, almost every single time, except for when they vote against HISHIRO.
You're right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So HISHIRO, I don't
gosh.
believe, has gotten the favored vote yet, and he's won each time. I think every other vote has gone that way, which means our next matchup.
Our next match. I mean, I don't know what to expect from that next game.
I don't know what to expect.
But still, that's. I mean, provided that ESSIA closes out this game next turn, that's gonna be the whole Crucible.
Yeah.
For Europe.
That's right.
That's gonna be it. So Latham was taken off the table, but a Juliet off the top and round table assembly.
I think ESSIA was being nice. I think the round table assembly play was. Oh, he's playing Mars, so it wasn't guaranteed.
Okay, that's true.
Okay. I was gonna say because there's another Juliet. He's definitely playing more Juliets, but he's also got Mars.
Oh my god.
There we go, ESSIA. The BM at the end of the match. I can do all this, and he is gonna 3-0 CRUMSION, and like you said, France, aka the European division of the Shadowverse Open Contenders Cup winners. The powerhouses are going to take this victory home for them.
Wow, and that's a Cerberus figurine going over to our good friends, the French.
The Frenchmen, that's
Frenchmen,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting that all the Pan American players this season are American that won the Contenders Cup, and of course French for the European side. But
pretty
yeah,
funny.
Doing work. They showed up.
They really showed up.
Showing CRUMSION wrong in his smack talk and proving ESSIA right in his smack talk.
A 3-0 in Unlimited. The chance of that, again, at this level of play.
This is pre-adjusted Aggro Dragon.
Yes.
Aggro Dragon is such a force in Unlimited right now that they are adjusting that 5-drop, that Hippogriff Rider, to cost more.
So was it the draws? I mean, it's certainly a combination of things, but ESSIA, I feel like, just played around different...
Two of the decks are just really good against Dragon, I feel like. These are not decks you see on the ladder. You never see Nephthys Shadow on the ladder in Limited. And Tanko Shrine, Holy Bowman, Kel list, again, one of those lists you don't really see very often. But when you're playing in these huge matches where you're playing against tough competitors for your tournament life and or just for, you know, the big money, that kind of thing when they go to Japan, you have to tech against what the field is going to be, not necessarily what you played against on the ladder. Like, what do you think they're going to bring and be able to beat those things? And I feel like ESSIA really showed us that he can do it.
He definitely did that, and I'm sure, obviously, they were playing together, practicing, and so I think ESSIA just won out that match. I think ESSIA definitely knew, like, okay, I'm going to try to beat out what CRUMSION's going to bring, but if CRUMSION was trying to do that, it just adds this whole different level of bluffs and then double bluffs going into the
I honestly think CRUMSION playing Dragon, at least for the first 2 matches, is probably a mistake, because there were 2 decks on the other side of the field that have a real game matchup and not do that.
Got it. Okay, so that was Unlimited. Rotation is next.
Here we go.
This is rotation.
So,
it says pre-adjustment.
Yes, pre-adjustment before the mini expansion. All of these things are happening, I believe, tomorrow. So the entire
tomorrow or the next day, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. The entire format's going to change. But we get to see the final match with 2 of our most experienced and potentially amazing players going into the World Grand Prix play-out rotation as our last match before everything changes.
That's right. It's going to be POTWASHER and HISHIRO. We've got POTWASHER on the line. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry. Pan America wasn't able to do it, but you still can make a name for yourself here, going 3-0 in the Crucible. How does that make you feel?
Man, what happened?
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. But you can still go 3-0. I mean, how are you feeling about your chances in rotation against HISHIRO?
I think I'll do okay. Yeah, I'm prepared. I've put the work in. So yeah, I'm confident today. I'm confident going into this chapter.
Cool, and I know you casted Rage and actually followed the entire tournament leading up to this tournament. Did that affect your decision-making process in the decks that you chose or deck building? Because I did notice a nice flux in even your Dark Feast Bat deck and your Shadowcraft deck in terms of cards we haven't seen played very much in those decks.
I think I generally brought some standard lists with maybe 1 or 2 differences, and you might have noticed like no Skull Ring. If you read the patch notes, of course I'm not playing a 4-mana Skull Ring, right?
So you're just pre-practicing essentially. You're like, let me get this out of my deck now.
I don't like the card, but
that's fair. That's
agreed.
fair.
We don't.
Yeah,
either.
agreed. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard us talk about how much bemoaning Skull Ring. Yeah. But I'm curious. So there's a month until the World Grand Prix. What's in store for you in that month? Tell us about some preparation. Are you going to be streaming exactly? Has the Crucible revealed anything about like, oh, I really need to practice Take 2 more or Unlimited? Or are you feeling really comfortable about your preparation going into the World Grand Prix?
I don't. For example, last week the Take 2, there were a lot of mistakes that I was making. So I've gone over that. I've contacted some really strong players that have a lot of experience with Take 2, so I've been working on that a lot this week.
Perfect. And before we get you into your game here, I just want to, because you are one of the streamers, I want to highlight that. How can people find you and watch your streams leading to the World Grand Prix?
Sadly, I probably won't be streaming the rest of this month or next month, just because it's preparation for the World Grand Prix, and that does take precedent over everything else.
That makes sense.
But I do stream on twitch.tv/POTWASHER.
All right, so check out his VODs. Okay, he's got some cool videos on his channel.
Yeah,
he's a great player. So good luck, POTWASHER. Can't wait to see the match.
So we'll be seeing HISHIRO up next in his interview and going into the match. I mean, POTWASHER seems really confident, really calm, easygoing guy. Yeah,
he's always confident. He's always like, I'm gonna do fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. It just blows through everybody. POTWASHER finally hit his hill moment, not just in games like we talk about. There's a hill that you have to cross to beat certain decks. POTWASHER's finally crossed his hill in just competitive play. He was always that player that was fine in competitive play, always the player that people talked about as the one building their decks, and he's the real heart behind the team. He's the real great player, but in tournaments he always kind of gets flustered and doesn't make the best plays, even though after the game he'll know every mistake he made. It's just for some reason competition was always his
he definitely talks about that. I feel like in the interviews that we've had, he says, oh, I made a mistake here, yeah. And so it seems like he can be very clear-minded, but maybe in the game the pressure of the time limit for a turn just gets to him.
That's a real thing. I mean, this is a human game, you know what I mean? Like every competitive esport, if not just card games in general, very mental games. And if you get into your head, I mean, competition itself can be nerve-wracking, let alone like everything else that it encapsulates. But I think he's finally crossed that hill. I think he's in the I can win. I know I'm better than a lot of players, and he's got a lot of confidence behind it.
All right, we've got HISHIRO on the line. HISHIRO, my friend, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? What's up?
I'm fine, thank you.
Perfect. And I want to make mention, I know if you had watched the broadcast a little bit last week, I was talking to you a big amount of times last week, just in the fact that you kind of came out of nowhere. You've been crushing the competition. What do you attribute this to? Because it's been more recently, the last season, plus now the Contenders Cup, and now you're even 2-0 in the Crucible. Is it a lot of playing? Is it a lot of practice? Is it a lot of research? Like, what have you been doing to get yourself so prepared?
Yes, I think it's just doing... Oh, sorry, I will divest for the echo. Yeah, just practicing a lot, doing a lot of playing in more tournaments to get used to the scene even more. I think it's when I got second place at the SVO, facing Akuma Red final, because I found something about the Lion playing Dollar that nobody had done ever before, thanks to talking to French teammates. But I stepped my game up and understood, okay, I have a chance to compete and go as far as I can. So yeah, I just played the tournament, the competition, gave it my whole, and it worked out. So
yeah, very good. Yeah,
I'm
you've
just happy
certainly
to-
surprised us with how well you can perform.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of hard work, a lot of play, and recognizing things other players don't. That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. So before we go into your match, we'll let you focus in. But do you have any words for CRUMSION, or excuse me, do you have any words for POTWASHER before we go into the next match?
I know he did say he was afraid to play against me at the World Grand Prix. So I tell him I did when I said to him during the stream. Don't be scared, just update.
I love it. All right, beat him with
Got
the top decks. You know what? That's all we can ask for, and more. So Hishiro, good luck. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, and I mean, like, as far as the decks go for these players, we're seeing the usual suspects.
The usual
Dark
suspects.
Beast Bat, Arcus Shadow, with some changes because Rage happened, last weekend or this past weekend.
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
This is still the weekend.
Yeah, this
I
is
forget
still
that.
yeah,
I
this
forget
is
that,
still
yeah.
the weekend. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of things have happened. But as POTWASHER said, he's running normal lists. Hishiro has been getting closer to normal lists as well. He still plays his tech cards and things like that, and cards that he likes. Like he's playing a triple skull ring variant as opposed to POTWASHER with no skull rings. And it could just be in preparation. He wants to start learning the deck without skull rings in it, which is perfectly fine. I think
He
it's a card
seemed
he can
like
go away.
I'll have to go back and maybe check some of these lists, but I feel like maybe POTWASHER just normally doesn't run Skull Ring.
It could be the case. It could definitely be the case. But he's throwing down some nice basically field of cards in his Shadowcraft deck that we just don't normally see.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. He's just got a lot of stuff. We'll see that. But Sarcophagus is a card that actually got shown out in Rage to just be a really strong card to have in your mid game. It's just a card that can generate a bunch of ghosts or just have another reanimate target so you can keep your board filled up for longer over the course of the mid game.
Gotcha. Don't forget, you can vote for who you think's going to win the match, POTWASHER or Hishiro. This is something else I'm really interested to see. I mean, these are the best players in the Crucible so far. 2-0 for POTWASHER, 2-0 for Hishiro. And here are the list. So Hishiro's bringing Loot Sword, Dark Beast Bat, and Arcus Shadow, and POTWASHER's bringing PDK. Now, POTWASHER's running a Proto Bahamut, just a one-of in his PDK list.
I love it. I think PDK, as I've been mentioning for the past couple of weeks, if not even for the whole season, I think Dragon's the strongest deck in the format. I don't think that's changed. A lot of people would say Shadow. I think Dragon has the edge against Shadow and has a really good matchup against the field. It's finally playing the way I've always wanted it to the board and just keep pushing. So I think it's in a great place right now. Of course, Arcus Shadow is it has good matchups across the board.
Sure.
Except for Dragon.
It has great matchups. It has OTKs. It has everything available to it. Yeah.
Everything available to it. Dark Beast Bat, I still think, is the strongest third deck in the format because it has the Giant Chimera endgame. It's just you play it, you win the game, right? It's a very strong effect, and it has one of the best board wipes in the game, an Evil Eye Demon, and just tons of card draw. Any deck with a lot of card draw in it feels really good to me.
Oh, yeah.
And
Blood Pact with Alexandrite Demon,
yeah, it's great stuff. And Vira to stop your opponent from killing you. It's got a lot of great options. Sword, I'm still the same person about Sword I always have been. I'm not really too sure about it again now that Arthur's been nerfed or adjusted.
I don't know. It feels a little forced to me. It feels a little forced. But let's take a look at Hishiro's Dark Beast Bat list to see exactly what he's bringing, exactly some of these changes. So we're seeing Wings of Lust as a 2-of in almost every single Dark Beast Bat list.
Yeah, so the big changes that you'll notice about the Bloodcraft deck now is that you'll see Wings of Lust in the deck. Sometimes you'll see a Crimson Desire, but not often played, but you will no longer see Disciple of Lust. It is no longer this deck where you're just trying to race out Floros, of course, Floros being adjusted to being turn 3 or later, and as well as the deck just wanting to go to turn 8, turn 9, turn 10. You don't really need the 1-drops in your deck to start activating and building up really big advantages of Dark Beast Bat early in the game anymore.
But this list feels very, very consistent. 3 of Valnyrex, only 2 of Pirated Singer, but pretty much everything else is a 3 of.
Yeah, this is the list right now. Post-Rage and just in general. Generally speaking, Blood is one of the first decks to get figured out because it's a very strict deck. You need to have basically every self-damage card, every card draw effect, and everything that works well with those effects. And this is kind of what it fills out to. Wings of Lust, of course, being the newest addition over the Disciple, but everything else pretty much where it needs to be.
Yep, absolutely. Let's take a look at POTWASHER's PDK list to figure out exactly what makes this deck so strong, and in the hands of Potwasher, he chose to bring in a 1 of Proto Bahamut.
Just that extra answer. So I love this. On Twitter and even in Discords a lot, I'm telling people to add 1 Proto Bahamut to even their mid-shadow decks. I think it's just an amazing card in the format right now. If it sticks, you win the game, and sometimes even if it doesn't stick and you just wipe the board with it, you win the game. I think it's a very great effect to have. Why this deck is so strong is Prime Dragon Keeper's very good, Galmi's very good, Poseidon's very good, Azidahaka's very good, and of course you have all of this early game that just works well with itself, like all of the Disdain cards that draw you cards. Serpent Drake is amazing against any deck, as it just can help you fill the board with those 3/2s along with the Disdain cards.
Plenty of draw available to it as well, yeah.
Plenty of draw, yeah. So really good stuff all around for PDK. That's why I think it's the most well-rounded deck. It can fill the board, it can play late to Storm Dragon if it needs to, it can also play a mid-range game, it just has flexibility all across the board.
Yep, this is a match that I am really looking forward to this match. I mean, we haven't seen
I
rotation.
can't wait
it's
to see
been
who
it's been
wins.
I mean, it's been a week, since we've seen rotation, but again, like this is the last time that we're really going to see high competitive rotation until we get to the World Grand Prix.
It's true. I think right now these are my 2 favorites going to the World Grand Prix at the moment. I mean, the 2 on the Crucible definitely helps with that, but I feel like they've just been playing the strongest over the course of not just the last 2 weeks, but even including the contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been practicing. They've been trying new things out. This is it, the final match of the day. Potwasher versus HISHIRO. We're going into the first game, seeing Dragoncraft and Swordcraft first.
That's right. So the winner of this match will claim all bragging rights as being the best Pan-American European player headed to the World Grand Prix, at least in strong showing fashion from the Crucible.
Yep,
so.
that's right. So the mulligans here. Potwasher has Dragon Oracle and Pure-Hearted Singer available to him. Great options there. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. So Potwasher, if he's going first, we might see a mulligan of the Ayala and the Pure-Hearted Singer to hopefully draw a little bit better of a hand. HISHIRO, similar situation. If he's going second, good hand. If he's going first, Frontline Cavalier might hit the mulligan pile here.
Yeah, that really, it all depends on kind of going first or second for both of these, players. Ayala and Frontline Cavalier, both really great going second.
Okay, so this looks like Potwasher might be going first. Also Fine Line going second. But yeah, everything looks as it should, and HISHIRO's hand looks great going second. So we're going to have a good game on our hands. We've got Potwasher picking up one of the cards you really like to have an Oracle on 2 with in that Waters of the Orca. Get 2 2/2s for the price of 1 card.
Absolutely, that is a great Dragoncraft player there. Dragon Oracle on 2.
That's what you got to do.
Oh, that's what you got to do, man.
That's what you got to do. He's also come into a Disdainful Rending. What that means is that he does top deck something like Servant of Disdain or a Serpent Drake. He has really good ability to fill the board up in different ways and save that Waters of the Orca for higher play points.
Absolutely, and also clear off anything that HISHIRO might have, such as an Octress, anything like that.
One other thing to note is that Swordcraft is one of the hardest decks to keep cards like Pure-Hearted Singer against because all Sword decks are playing 3 Octries now, which steals the last words of an enemy follower, which means your Pure-Hearted Singer is a 3 play point 1/2 that legitimately just filters itself as opposed to drawing you extra card. Yeah. Not the best.
Not to mention, then you're giving your opponent the effect of drawing a card.
Yes, very good stuff on the 2/3 that you just freshly played.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Throwing the Servant of Usurpation down there. Potwasher, honestly, another Dragon Oracle is not bad.
It's not bad. I think this will just be a Waters of the Orca turn unless he really does want to get the ramp going. His hand's very small. And without getting any of the utility cards early, like a Serpent Drake or a Servant of Disdain, something like that, he might just need to play to the board right now and potentially hold the Dragon Oracle for card draw or ramp from 5 to 7 as opposed to 4 from 6.
Right. Yeah, that definitely seems like a good play, a good line of play there. Yeah, there's nothing in his hand that he might want to specifically ramp up to in turn 6, maybe after that. He has the Galmi, he has the Azidahaka, so that's definitely nice. But playing to the board here is feels pretty good.
I like this. And he's actually, unless he draws something specifically like one of the value cards I was talking about, he's going to get really behind on the board over the course of these next 2 turns. Of course, HISHIRO having a 2/3 to match up very well against this 2/2, and having a Frontline Cavalier to really just take over the board. Now, of course, there is okay comeback in the form of Galmu, but after Galmu, there's not really a whole lot going on. So now it's just down to POTWASHER. Does he use this rending to take care of a 2-3? That doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
Does he just disciple this turn?
I don't know.
And hope to draw something good?
Then you leave the Octress up, and it's just more trading value considering the 3 defense on the Octress into whatever else you have.
Yeah, very weak opener here from POTWASHER. Had the Oracle Waters of the Orca, but that was about it.
You might just have to Disdainful Rend, Dragon Oracle, just to try to ramp up into some options so that if he does draw into his Poseidon and do his high-cost followers, he'll be at a higher play point value to be able to play them down.
I think going into turn 4, you know you're going to be able to play Galmu next turn. I think you just Oracle and face. I don't think you use a rending here. Maybe Disciple if you want to draw a card. Okay, so he's going to rending as opposed. He wants a better Galmu on turn 7. I can't really oppose that thought.
Sure.
Oh, he's not even going to Oracle. He's going to save it all for card draw. Says he's okay with turn 6 being empty as well.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, that's fine.
So turn 6 might be the Galmu play just to force through one follower as opposed to using it as a board clear because he does have the Disciple to give it a free Evo.
Uh-huh, that's true. That's a free Evo over to the Azidahaka.
Yeah, lots of free Evos being tossed around in Dragon. One of the reasons why it's super cool.
Yeah, plenty of those.
Ooh. Okay.
That's not bad.
Even more options available now. Not a very menacing board here. You can Evo the Ayala into the 4-3. Or you can just Evo first and then draw with Oracle, but it looks like the Galmu play is happening.
You might get a good ping here.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you could go for the good ping. No, you can force the good ping by Evoing the Disciple here. That's absolutely right. Really good turn here from POTWASHER.
Yeah. And that's a really threatening board that Swordcraft on turn 5 does not have a reliable way to really deal with that aside from the Usurping Spine Blade in the hand of HISHIRO. That's going to be helpful.
Helpful, but yeah, how do you deal with both of these effectively? I suppose you could play out the Celia as a 2-2 to Evo over a 3-2.
You could play out the Rapier Master as a 2-2 after the Usurping Spine
That's
Blade.
true. That's true. He's been holding on to these Rapier Masters. Didn't play one on turn 1 to try to spike some damage. Really holding on to them for more value.
I think in Dragoncraft, against Dragoncraft, specifically with Feline and Poseidon's Guard, playing a 1-1 is
fair.
Yeah,
it's fair.
It's not great.
Yeah. Especially when you're going second. I get it. Here we go. Just taking control of the board again. And now POTWASHER has saved this Oracle for card draw here. But without ramping, it means he can't play this Poseidon this next turn. And he was okay with this. HISHIRO thinking about healing the follower will do. Does not want it to be a free clear for Galmu on 7. Galmu in the hand.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. Wow. That was a really great choice there from HISHIRO.
Yeah, so now if Galmu's played, then you'll just have to run it into the Rapier Master, so that's definitely not an option. So let's draw some cards. And then
let's see.
Do nothing? Question mark?
A Yellow Evolve, just be on 10 play points next turn.
You don't need to. Everything's Evo properly.
You
don't want to use any of your Evos on this Ayala now. This isn't an aggressive Swordcraft deck, so taking 4 isn't the biggest thing in the world.
Right. And it's turn 6. Like, I guess there could be, if he POTWASHER ends his turn and he doesn't have a follower, Zeta, maybe Apostle would be the biggest consideration, but...
Yeah, this is just a rough spot. This is a very awkward turn. HISHIRO, you stop that. Stop waiting for a response.
Cut it out.
Yeah, cut it out. We don't want to see any DCs. This is the match we... no, don't do that. POTWASHER definitely deep in the tank here. Maybe the consideration is Poseidon's Guard to Evo over the 4-3. I can't really see Evoing anything else here. Ayala full trades. Okay, so it looks like the turn was ended, and we're waiting for the reconnection of HISHIRO now. Let's hope that he does come back. HISHIRO, be the hero we need, okay? Be the hero we need. Okay? That's a good sign. All right, we're back.
Right, we're back.
Here we go. All right, the game is afoot.
Turn 6, Swordcraft. Rapier Master, not bad. Getting Bane and Ward.
Protect the 4-3. Again, you're just trying to build boards. When you get post 7 play points against Dragoncraft, the best thing you can be doing is playing around Galmu pretty much every single turn.
Yep.
So if you can keep producing a board of only 4 attack followers that do not get immediately killed by Galmu, you're doing the best you can.
That's a very good point. Yeah, this is difficult for even Poseidon to evolve into.
Yeah, because it has Bane.
Because it has freaking Bane, man.
Not just Bane. Frickin' Bane, man. Yeah,
there is Feline to help deal with this, but...
Yeah, so what can the turn be? You can Feline, play Feline, evolve it, clear board. Force the Dragonoot, Feline, clear with the Evo. Yeah. That's not a bad way, and then you get to keep all of your high impact cards in your hand that way. And you're going into a turn 7, which is arguably Sword's weakest turn. Yeah, I think that's the play. Oh, no, maybe he's just setting up for Galmu after Force of the Dragonoon. Okay. No? All right. It's going to clear. All right, I'm just... It's going to happen one way or the other. Here we go.
Galmu's going to be played.
I actually would have not minded just Force of the Dragonoot, maybe even just trading with one of these to set up for a Galmu. But he doesn't want to take any extra damage. Wants to get the board clear so that he can just play an Ozzy Dahaka with tempo.
Gillenlease doesn't feel that bad.
Gillenlease is definitely not a bad option. You're only facing down a 2-2. Get yourself a heal option in the fact that it has Drain. Zeta's also very good here.
Zeta's great, yep. Getting the Beatrix in your hand. A 4-cost, 4-damage Storm Follower that can ignore Ward when you play it for Enhanced 10.
And I think now it just gets rough for Potwasher. No Evo points left. Decided to use it last turn on the Feline. Poseidon can come down, but it does not deal with the 6-3. Another Feline drawn, though. But if you play Feline in the Whisper to deal with the 6-3, you're still not advancing your own board state.
Right. You're just giving a turn over to the Swordcraft player. Okay, thanks for the free Beatrix in my hand now.
I think this is Poseidon plus Feline. I think it's the only thing you can do. You need to fill up the board so that you can play this Ozzy Dahaka with tempo. That's your best chance to win this game at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. Turn 8 coming up for Swordcraft, and doesn't look like there's a Latham. There is an Apostle.
Apostle was an insanely good pickup here.
Yeah, considering there's already a Gilded Necklace in hand.
The Feline was a very good card to have on top of the Poseidon here to make the Apostle not just go absolutely crazy. This is a
Yeah, so how does the Swordcraft, how does Hishiro order this?
I think you start with Apostle, see what you get, and then you ping one of the wards.
He could Mars in Celia. That's available to him.
Actually, that's not terrible. Okay. All right. Mars and Celia fills up the board.
Fills up the board. Gets a pretty big ward. Decently sized ward.
Huge. The biggest creature on the table.
That's actually the smallest. Okay.
But this isn't bad. This definitely sets up a big board. He did just see Force of the Dragonoot being played, so a little bit less scared of that card. Galmu pretty good here. Not insane, but pretty good. The Disdainful Rending will definitely help this turn. So he can play Disdainful Rending and White Frost Whisper and Galmu this turn to clear up this board.
That's pretty strong there.
And he actually gets to tag for 5 face damage, which is huge. He's only got the one Ozzy Dahaka in hand to fall back on at the moment.
You can damage the Celia for the 4 defense.
I think that would be the play. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the only thing that he can't automatically shoot down.
Trade into the lowest attack follower, get a guaranteed beat here.
And then rend. Perfect, perfect cards to have.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. Spike for 5 damage. Put his opponent to 8. Which means either of these followers live. That is lethal with Ozzy Dahaka.
Yeah, and I think he used the Disdainful Rending on the Poseidon.
Yeah, don't mind that. Don't mind that at all.
That was a really strong play from Dragoncraft.
All right, Hishiro left to find out how to deal with these followers. All right, so Vols can deal with 1 for 4 play points, then 5 play points left over. You can Beatrix plus Necklace to clear off the 5/5. So he does have answers to this full board.
Uh-huh. There is a 6-cost Ozzy to Hawk in Potwasher's hand.
That's cheap.
That's a very, very cheap 6/8 Storm follower.
Imagine if Ozzy to Hawk just cost 6. Never mind.
This game would
Let's
be
not
busted.
imagine that.
This game
Yeah.
would be busted.
Let's not imagine that. Forte is good enough at 6. Of course, in rotation, I think Forte would be too good anyway.
Yeah. A little bit.
A little bit too good.
Okay, Hishiro has ward available to him. I
Yeah.
think it has to be. Trading in the Beatrix does not feel that great.
I think it's okay, though. Like, the situation that Hishiro's in is that Potwasher has 1 card left.
Right.
Even if it is Ozzy Dahaka. Well, I guess if it is specifically Ozzy Dahaka, you're going to have a hard time dealing with it if you do give up the Vulse this turn, but I don't think there's a better way to deal with this. The problem is he's only got 9 play points. If he had 10, maybe options open up a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's going to go with the board clear here. Not happy about it, but got to do it. And this Ozzy Dahaka will be played with tempo. And if, in case you're wondering why am I saying with tempo, what I mean is he doesn't have to trade with it.
Yep.
He's still ahead on board. He gets to deal damage face with it.
He can get a draw this turn if he wants. With the Disciple of Disdain.
Ooh.
Oh, that's... Oh, my
That's
gosh.
dirty. I would just play it.
I would just play it,
Easy
yeah.
play Poseidon's Guard to protect the Ozzy Dahaka here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
my gosh.
Unless another Vulse is off the top. I don't know what Potwash or I don't know what Shiro can do to clear off the 6/7. Interesting. Okay. So Apostle has to ping Ozzy Dahaka.
Yeah. 6, and then...
So he's counting. So if he deals 3, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to ping it. It'd probably be the best option in case you get a Gilded Blade to potentially ping it. Like you're hoping for a lot of RNG luck to kill this Ozzy
There's a
Dahaka.
lot of that. There's a lot that's going into this.
And even after you kill the Ozzy Dahaka, you still have to manage to deal with one of these other followers, or else you're just dead. Yikes. Okay, so Spine Blade could actually go into the ward. That's probably the best, because then you open yourself up to boots for the Apostle.
Yeah.
Does get a blade.
The chance is slim that he's going to get boots, though. It's very slim.
Shiro's doing the deep breathing right now.
I think he has to.
Okay, what does he choose? He chooses the 1/1. Okay. Gets a necklace.
Oh, okay.
Not quite good enough, and
No,
I
I don't
think
think
that's
that
just
is.
it. Oh,
Well,
no,
no,
it's
it
just
still
enough.
is good. Yeah, it's just enough.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Just got there. So now Potwasher's in a situation where he needs to top deck 2 damage. Because the board will be lost to him for a while. That
could be it.
was good. That's a 1/3 that cannot be interacted with as far as attacking-wise goes. That's 1 damage. And a 2 drop or less off the top
Yep.
could be it now. But does he save it is the question. I don't think so. I don't think so. The reason is because if you play it this turn and only draw a 2-drop next turn, you win the game.
But if you play it this turn and your opponent has a Vulse, for instance.
But if is the question.
But
if.
that could be the difference. I mean, I don't think there's a reason not to hold on.
Think about tempo, right? If you play Prime Dragon Keeper next turn, you've already allowed 5 damage to face. You've already allowed another full turn of board filling. You might not have the extra turn anymore. You might just run out of time.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
I think you have to play it here and cross your fingers. This is one of those situations in any deck where you're just out of cards.
This is really difficult.
And you need to just play for the win. And
I really don't know what to do.
I think the 1/2 punch this turn is the best. If he saves it and draws Waters of the Orca, or an Aficionado,
Sure.
he's going to look like a genius.
Yeah.
But if he draws a Servant of Disdain, a Disciple of Disdain, Feline, any of these cards, it's not going to look too good. All right, he's going to take the chance. He says, Hishiro cannot kill me in 2 turns. Hishiro has a Gilnelise and a Celia. So
he's going to get some
me thinks it is definitely possible. However, he's board filling himself. Does that present a lethal board? 5, 8, 9, 10, it does. So Potwasher needs to draw a multiple spell. and gave himself no chance to win here. So honestly speaking, with the heal, it didn't matter anyway. There wasn't going to be 4 damage to be being able to be dealt. So POTWASHER is going to lose Dragoncraft versus Swordcraft.
That is HISHIRO going up. Game 1. Swordcraft takes the first win of the day, and here we were saying,
talking up Dragoncraft,
Swordcraft,
whatever. But honestly, it comes down to a lot of times Dragon does beat itself. And what I mean by that is you just don't get any of your card draw. You don't get the flow going. You have like 1, maybe 2 good turns in the mid game and just have 1 Ozzy Dahaka to finish with. That was just kind of a lack of resources that game.
Sure. Okay, so now HISHIRO has 2 decks left to win with: Arcus, Shadowcraft, and Dark Feast Blood. POTWASHER still has all his decks remaining to him. So, just first game done. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I still want to see these poll results. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see if it's crazy in one way or the other. I think our players are misevaluating both of these players.
A little bit.
We're gonna get the match going right away again, guys. I think there's some connection issues on both sides here, but I think if HISHIRO, especially if he like 3-0s POTWASHER right here,
dude, I would lose my mind if there's a 3-0.
It's possible, folks. It's possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
This is the Shadowverse Crucible.
That's right. Anything is possible in the Crucible. Okay. We threw him to the gauntlet. We don't know what to expect.
That's right.
That's what you do. Isn't that what they used to do to knights of old? I'm kind of using your tagline.
Knights of old.
They'd throw them into gauntlets, right?
My tagline.
Yeah, your tagline.
When have I said that? Knights of old.
At the beginning, you say friends of old.
Well, I say that. Oh yeah, that's true. I say that because that's what Elrond says. When he welcomes the council of it to Imladris. And we don't have to talk about that. We can talk about literally anything else.
Yeah, anything else is good. Okay, so yeah, isn't that what they used to do to old knights? They throw them into gauntlets to make them prove their worth, and these gauntlets were like,
they'd have like,
you could risk your life.
You could die in these tournaments.
And then if you made it through the gauntlet, then you'd be knighted and
you'd get prize money and glory and
whatever. And in our case,
kind of like Shadowverse.
They don't die. Yeah, kind of like Shadowverse. But if they succeed here and they show off, then they have really good chances and a lot of momentum behind them going into the World Grand Prix.
Very true.
To feel good about.
They got eyes on them. There's exposure. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. But man, I really did not expect Swordcraft to perform that
well. If Swordcraft pulls off the first win, I think that HISHIRO definitely has favor in this matchup now. Of course, everything can change with the last X. I think Prime Dragon Keeper will find a win in its next matchup against Blood or Shadow. It feels pretty good, so I think that's fine. And I think HISHIRO, this is something that's really telling to me about HISHIRO. I have one okay matchup against Dragoncraft. I'm going to play it first, thinking my opponent's going to play his Dragoncraft deck. I think he understands the game very well. POTWASHER, I believe, played Prime Dragon Keeper because it is the strongest deck right now, just into the open field.
Sure. Has the highest win percentage.
Has the highest win percentage, against what his opponent might be playing. So I think both players are on track. I don't know. I can't say enough about HISHIRO. I know I talked a lot about him before, but I think he's definitely one of the players to watch. And of course, POTWASHER has just been the steady player everybody thinks is the best.
Oh yeah.
And for good reason. He makes
all the players, at least the American players, think he's the best.
Absolutely. I think most of the European players also favor him as the top player, along with CRUMSION. I mean, him and CRUMSION have been teammates for a long time now. They play together all the time. CRUMSION saw glory before POTWASHER and has had an insane year this year, winning a World Circuit event, winning Shadowverse Open, season. He's an incredible player. But anyway, back to the match. We get to see Dragoncraft go up against good old Bloodcraft.
Good old-fashioned Dark Feast Bloodcraft.
Good old-fashioned first deck you saw in the format and the last deck you'll see before we're done.
First and the last, Alpha and Omega.
That's right. So here we see opening hands. Both players not really seeing a lot of the cards they want. POTWASHER does have a 2 into a 3 drop. So against Bloodcraft specifically, you just want a good curve. You don't even need the ramp. You just want your 2s, your 3s. You want your early value cards like the Disciples and Rendings. And
POTWASHER didn't mulligan that hand at all. He had Feline, Ozzy Dahaka, and Cerberdrang just
I don't mind it. He had a 2 and a 3, and he had the end game, the Ozzy Dahaka to finish things off. I don't mind the keep at all. HISHIRO on the other end of things, going second, has a really good reactive hand. He's got card draw. He's got double Snarling Chains to answer the early boards from HISHIRO or from POTWASHER here. Oracle might change things. When you have an Oracle with a hand like this, feels fine.
Feels just fine. Yeah, next turn he could play the Serpent along with the Feline, or just the Serpent Drake, maybe getting a Rending off the top. But, you know, what are the chances of that? Comes into the Wings of Lust.
I'm not going to say it because then it's like 100%.
You can't, just keep your mouth shut over there.
Yeah,
you can't,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can't influence what's happening in the game anymore, my friend. Those days are done.
All right, so Pure-Hearted Singer, the draw. Not bad, but definitely not what you want to be playing this turn.
Well, I mean, it is going to be trading into an Alexandrite, which is pretty good. Feline obviously trades a little bit better in there with 3 defense.
I just don't mind filling up the board here.
Yep.
Serpent Drake, I believe, is the more go-to target as far as you're using your utility cards to ping your own followers, just because you want to fill up the board against Bloodcraft, as opposed to just drawing some extra cards. You want to play aggressively against it, because essentially it is a control deck that just has an endgame against.
Sure.
Easy trades, easy card draw. Okay, more ramp, but I think we're
more ramp. Wow.
going for card draw here. Man, just another really, really rough draw here from Potwasher. He's getting ramp though, so like he basically had an aggro draw, turn ramp by drawing 2 oracles and a Poseidon.
Yeah, those oracles kind of made this game for Potwasher because next turn he's going to be in overflow. Nothing to really do on turn 7. Yeah,
he's
Serpent
in this spot again.
Serpent Drink enhances for 8.
All right, Hishiro just choosing to go with double Snarling Chains here, keep the board clean, get some self-damage going for himself. So the benefit of the Dark Feast Bat Blood deck, if you're newer to the game, what it does is it tries to self-damage itself with all of its cards. And the reason why these self-damage cards are good by themselves is that they're just better, because they deal damage to yourself while also doing something. So they'll have higher effects than most cards. But then its endgame card, that Dark Feast Bat you see in Hishiro's hand, 5/5, when it comes down, will actually just deal the amount of self-damage you've dealt to yourself to your opponent. Not for full value, but every time you've actually hit yourself with self-damage on your
Each
turn.
instance of damage equals 1 point of damage on the Dark Feast Bat.
Correct. But here we go. Drew the value card, filled up the board. This is exactly what Potwasher wanted. This was a perfect draw step for him. And now it might force an Evil Eye Demon out to clear the board, plus an Evo point. No Evo points have been used yet, so this is a fine place to use an Evo point.
Yep, just fine, and I think there is definitely enough damage on his Shiro side for the Evil Eye Demon to get full effect. Of course, he is at 15 defense, and Evolved Floros here could get him some nice healing, get him right back up there.
Yeah, I honestly don't mind either play. The thing about the Evil Eye Demon as well is that you know your opponent has ramped a bunch. So if they do get to something like a Poseidon, that's such a hard card to deal with your hand. Maybe you save the Evil Eye Demon for the bigger followers that Dragoncraft can play, but Hishiro just feeling the pressure now.
Sure. This is turn 8, so Poseidon is more than likely going to be thrown down.
Yeah. This Evo is not too bad either. Everything in Bloodcraft deals 3, not 4 damage. So this is a very strong Evo. Now presenting a big 7/4 that if left unchecked with the Azadahaka will just end the game next turn.
Sure. With 2 wards protecting it, it doesn't look like Hishiro can, easily get rid of it. He could Snarling Chains and Razory Claw.
He might have to. Gonna draw some cards first. Comes into an Evil Eye Demon, but no 5 play points to use with it. Is he gonna gamble with the Floros?
He could get Floros and also take off the Poseidon. Invocate Floros.
Okay.
Invoke Floros.
That's right. He did come into the Gift, so Gift can grant him access to that.
That seems like a pretty good turn.
Doesn't seem like a bad one. Maybe he's doing some math about evoing the bat with a Wings of Lust and just draining for a decent amount this turn, but I don't think that seems good enough. I think you're right. Yeah, getting the invocated Floros out, evoing it, that feels like a pretty good turn. Now you've left yourself at 9. The Floros won't activate this turn. We see 2 in the hand. We see 8 damage right now from Potwasher, so not lethal. 1 away from lethal right here. But getting your opponent to 1 is very strong against a deck that deals damage to itself.
That deals self-damage? Yes. Very, very strong.
Oh, he's got the Evo point.
Oh, he does have
Never
an Evo
mind.
point. Yeah.
Forget what I was talking about. Evo point's there. Extra 2 damage is there. Game's over. Easy business.
So Hishiro took a risk there.
Yeah, I think it was, I think he did everything he could, right? He got the Floros out, he dealt with the big follower, just I mean, that's the problem with self-damage cards sometimes.
Problem was I mean, like that turn he blood packed, snarling change, razor claw, gifted
and
bloodkin,
gifted, yeah.
put himself down to 9, and oh, I have this Ozzy Dahaka that's waiting right here in my hand for that.
Literally dealt himself 6 damage that turn, I believe.
That's what Dark Beast Bat does, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
Can't take the heat, man.
Stay
Get out of the kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen. I was waiting for the punchline on that one. Oh, good stuff. All right, so Potwasher is going to even things up. No 3-0ing here on the final day of the Crucible. In the last match, we're going to see a true battle here. All right, Shadowcraft against Bloodcraft now. Not really sure what the percentage in this matchup is. I think it's pretty close to even. Maybe Shadow has a slightly favorable matchup, but I think Bloodcraft, given the right draw, can easily blow Shadow out of the water.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
I've had mixed results with this matchup specifically myself.
Whoa.
There we go. Pretty close.
Just about even.
Hishiro's catching up in the polls. I
Not
like
bad,
this
not
vote.
bad.
This vote makes sense to me. It's not 87% Potwasher and people not even giving Hishiro credit anymore.
This is a respectful vote.
This is a respectful vote. I like this. I can handle this one. Potwasher, the slight favorite, but Hishiro definitely one of those guys that can get it done. All right.
Absolutely.
So early curves here. Decent from Potwasher. Already has an Arcus for turn 7 going first. Has nice card draw in hand. Just a good curve all around.
Yeah, has an Alexandrite Demon to throw down, get that Blazing Sapphire out. Potwasher coming into an Arcus along with the curve that he already has.
Yeah.
Which is very strong.
Pretty good here, yeah. Yeah, and like you said, Hishiro's hand, I mean, you got all the options you want. You got card draw. There's not really anything missing from this hand, so we'll see. Both players with a good draw. That's why this matchup's weird to me. Both players have a good draw. I mean, who's going to win?
I have no idea, man.
I think going first, again, is an edge in this matchup because it's more of a combo-ish matchup, and usually going first gives you the edge there as well as going aggro. I think going second in mid-range matchups is actually beneficial.
That's true. I believe that.
Going second in this matchup is Bloodcraft specifically, though, might be advantageous as well because you have more Evo points to use on your Viras and your Evil Eye Demons.
Sure.
To maintain control of the board. So
yeah, that's definitely one thing that Bloodcraft trades out with this specific archetype is having evil points are so valuable in this deck because so many targets want to be evolved, but also going first means you can get the Dark Beast Bat out a lot sooner.
Exactly. Yep. So good trade-offs there. I think in general going second with Blood it actually feels pretty good just because of the extra Evos. You want to, I mean, you have what, 9 targets that you just want to actually Evo every game. You have 3 Evil Eye Demons, you have 3 Floros, you have 3 Viras. A lot of things that you just want to get value out of your Evos. That's why some players have opted to start running things like Crimson Desire in their deck so they can get more Evos in their deck.
Absolutely. There was one player at Rage who brought 1 Crimson Desire in his deck.
Yeah. I mean, I see it on ladder all the time. People play Crimson Desire. It's probably just a one of in most of the decks, but it's a cool option. Just another self-damage effect that gives you a free Evo point. And what to do this turn? Kind of an awkward turn.
Yeah, you don't really want to throw down. You don't really want to throw down the Orthrus. Just kind of by itself for a 4-attack follower for next turn.
I like the heads-up play here from Hishiro too. I mean, he's going to play the Pure-Hearted Singer anyway, but like nothing for the Pure-Hearted Singer to run into. So Potwasher has no card draw this turn.
Yep.
Shadow just a weak turn, and again, he's not playing any Skull Rings, so that wouldn't have been an option anyway.
That's true.
Does he just pass? No, he plays Deliria. Okay. Or does he fill? Okay, keeping the Gremory. Interesting choice. Maybe just trying to build up some shadows for Orthrus to be effective on an Evo turn.
Comes into a Valnarek. Don't know if that's going to be so necessary this turn. Honestly, in this matchup, though, getting the Valnarek just down before you're able to destroy a follower, before the Arcus comes down, before you don't have any more targets left over, doesn't feel bad just to get a follower that can keep buffing itself up. It's just another high-priority target that the Shadowcraft player is going to have to deal with.
Yeah, generally speaking, you do want to save it for a big follower, but in this matchup, because Shadowcraft's followers are so small, it could just be a really potent threat. But
sure.
Looks like a different option will be played this turn. This is an interesting one. So I was almost feeling something like just card draw from the Sapphire into something else, but it really looks like he wants to establish some kind of board control here with the Vira. So Vira, the reason why that's so cool is if you use an Evo point on it, of course it gets +2/+2, it reduces all damage it takes for a turn by 2. And all damage dealt to you for a turn. Very strong card.
For the turn that the effect lasts for that turn that you evolve it, and also your opponent's next turn.
That's right. But Potwasher has the perfect answer to it in Orthrus, evolved over it, stays alive and kills it, of course, with 6 attack, and then Gramarye to add card draw to the Orthrus. Very, very good turn here from Potwasher.
Yep, absolutely. 3 Evil Eye Demons in hand for HISHIRO.
This would be a pretty good turn to use it.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad turn at all. Dealing 1 damage is all you need to deal with this Evo.
He's got a bit more than 1 damage. But yeah, so the first ping will get rid of Lyria's shield.
He has exactly 1 damage. I think he's only played 1 self-damage thing this game.
Oh, I guess it was the Servant of Lust.
That was it.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
So it's going to be tough for HISHIRO's hand to actually compete going into the end game here. Or even the mid game here. He doesn't have a lot of self-damage. That's why this deck is so tight. Like you need to get specific cards in order for it to work.
You need card draw, you need self-damage, you need a lot of different things to make this deck really jog with you.
Yeah, and this is really a weak turn from Potwasher here. It's not overly strong. HISHIRO doesn't have much to punish it with, though.
Not evolving, just saving the Evo turn for Arcus next turn. I like that choice from Potwasher. Very good.
100%. Having an Arcus in this matchup just means that you have a clock against them, which is really nice.
Okay, there's Floros active this turn if HISHIRO wants. I don't know how important that is. But HISHIRO has managed to stay very high in life total. He's at 17 defense.
Yeah, Evo will not be happening this turn. He'll probably use one of the Evil Eye Demons to take out the Lady Grey. Probably push 5 damage, and then maybe Razor Claw face, unless he wants to use Restless Perish for 2, or he could Razor Claw plus Restless Perish for 0. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, backing off. He's like, wait a minute. I want to clear board instead. Okay. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, and I believe this will proc the Floros, which is awesome. So you got tempo, you got board clear, and you have yourself a big self-heal option. This was an amazing turn. This is saying if you do want to play your Arcus next turn, you're going to pay a hefty price for it. You're going to leave 6 damage on the board. You're going to heal me for 5. I'm going to be drawing a bunch of cards.
That was a really, really great play from HISHIRO. Still, I think Arcus is the play for Potwasher. I don't think he can risk setting that back 1 turn.
That's true. Now, if you notice, HISHIRO was only at 1 damage for Dark Feast Bat. That turn alone got him up to 5 damage because he had 4 sources to proc that Floros. Sapphire popping on 8 will at least push it to 7.
Yep.
I'm sorry, to 6. And then he's got another Razor Claw. Oh, yeah, and another Razor Claw. He's got plenty of damage. Plenty.
Plenty of damage. Let's see, and then yeah, it's looking really good for HISHIRO actually.
Yeah, I don't really see a way out of this. I mean, you wanted to play Arcus this turn. You played the game as you wanted to play Arcus. The problem with Arcus is that it's not an auto win next turn. You can play Lyria into Gilnelise next turn to push for 6, and your opponent's going to be at 18.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to be good enough.
So you might be right there.
If that's not the play, then what do you do? I don't think there's anything strong enough to do in the hand is the problem. You play Belness, evolve that? Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Maybe Lady Grey evolve, but, you know, to get some healing. But, again, that's your game plan back. Potwasher has to do this.
Yeah, this is not a game where you want it to go super late as Shadow, unless you know your opponent hasn't played any self-damage things, but, of course, we know that a decent amount have been played now. So this is a 6 damage push, a board clear, and just more damage to face with whatever self-damage is. This means Potwasher has to find a win next turn, and I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, let's see. Snarling, Chains, and then will Valorant be active?
So I believe we're at 5, and then he can 6, 7, and play Valnarek. Yeah, he can play Snarling Chains, Razor Claw, and Valnarek this turn.
Or Razor Claw Servant.
Is that just game? Okay, probably not game. Or is it still game?
6, 3, no.
7, 8. Yeah. So yeah, wouldn't have been game. Playing the Valnarek instead of the Snarling Chains here.
But setting up for a
There's
really nice lethal next turn.
I don't even think you can clear board here if
No,
you're
I don't
Potwasher,
think so.
let alone present lethal. I think this is a scoop 'em up Buttercup moment here. HISHIRO might be 2-1 against Potwasher, showing everybody his craziness.
Oh man.
There we go. Up 2-1 against Potwasher. Telling you guys, I'm not just claiming him as my horse since last week for no reason, folks. There's a reason for this. He's
Dude,
great.
I ever since HISHIRO performed so wonderfully at the Brigade of the Sky Grand Finals, blowing through all the top competition through the losers bracket, we've all had our eyes on him, and he's not stopping.
He hasn't lost much, and Potwasher is great competition for him to prove himself before he goes out to the World Grand Prix.
Absolutely.
So definitely a lot of things in his favor, and of course Potwasher, he's got some fight left in him. He's got some good decks.
Oh yes.
He's going against, you know, possibly HISHIRO's best deck, though. I don't know. This is rough.
I've never really looked at the artwork for Apostle of Lust.
It's great.
That's amazing. He's got a mustache, which is just awesome because mustaches are
You're
awesome.
one of those guys, yeah. Okay.
If you remember season 1, you remember
Oh, yeah.
the stash.
I remember the stash. That was actually one of the key features. It was like, hey, is that guy casting Shadowverse with a stash? That's great. That was actually the season I played, and you were casting.
Yep, that's
I
right.
wasn't casting with you.
Yeah,
That's right. Oh, memories. Okay. To the match.
Match point.
That's right. Looking at this, again, it's a combo style of matchups, so going first is definitely beneficial, but there are a lot of things that can happen in the mid-game that can change that around. Cerberus definitely being one of them. Going second, how you win this matchup is you fill the board at any cost. You end the game before turn 10, because if you don't, most likely going to lose.
Got it. So Potwasher has Pure-Hearted Singer this turn, but yeah, I mean, that's fine considering it. If he might want some more draw, if he might want to get the Orthros, if he might want to get his own Cerberus.
He might want to push with just trading with board and getting card draw. When you're going first, you're the defensive player. That's the weird thing about this matchup. When you're going first and you don't have board fill, then you're just playing for combo. I'm going to get to turn 10 first, so I'm going to win the long game. When you're going second, you have to play the aggro game. It's one of the coolest matchups that I've ever seen in Shadowverse because of that. It turns the player going first into the defensive player.
That's really interesting.
Of course, you can be aggressive when you're going first if you have the Cerberus and the nice curve and all that kind of thing, but you don't need to. You don't need to jump into the aggro game plan.
Right. So turn 4 for Potwasher. Let's see what the option is. If it's just board fill with the Fairy and the Lady Grey, it might just have to be.
I don't mind this. I don't mind keeping the Lady Grey as well, just putting the 2/2 out there to help with board trading next turn. Shadow is one of those classes you do want to put things in play for your opponent to evo into, so it can make it easier for you to actually clear boards.
Yeah.
Now like this, Andrew Elf is getting the evo from HISHIRO here.
Taking advantage of the slow hand that Potwasher had, getting some great value here.
Yeah, having board control and basically making every card in your hand filter itself is insane in this matchup, and HISHIRO does have a Cerberus, so he has exactly the start he needs to actually win going second in this matchup. Man, he has this Skull Ring popping next turn too.
That's really, really strong. Of course, Potwasher does not run Skull Ring.
That's right. We're going to see the power here. I think going second, Skull Ring is actually one of those cards you need, right? It's one of the ways to fill up the board and give you some tempo.
Yep. Absolutely.
This is a really rough turn. He can clear, go 2-1. He can use an evo point if he wants to on the Lady Grey, which he probably will to fill the board.
Going into a turn before your opponent might have their own Cerberus, I think that's filling up the board as much as you can, just trying to get a little victory there. I think it's very important.
All right, so this is just, I think this is easy Cerberus evo for HISHIRO here. Just trade back to the board. Fill up the board, give everything extra beneficial stats.
Having a full board to use Cerberus's Evolve effect on. Oh,
and the old taunt. You don't have Sir, but I do. How does it feel, buddy?
How does it feel, man? Wow. Ouch.
And gets the good ping.
That was a great ping.
What a master. All right. And now we're looking at a pretty rough couple turns here from POTWASHER. He's going to have to trade to the board as best he can. He's going to lose his followers in the process. If he wants to clear this Cerberus, he's going to have to give up a lot of resources for it.
Yeah. At least Fran and, yeah, and the spell there.
Yeah, Fran's Curse, Fran's Attendant. He will be able to get to 6 Shadows this turn. If he wants to. He's just deciding how he wants to play the Fran. Actually, it might be... No, he can. He can, because you use the Fran's Curse on the Fran, so you don't actually get pinged off. I think you have to trade, you have to play Fran, you have to Fran's Curse, and then play Fran's Attendant.
Oh, but he can't. He doesn't have 7 play points. He can't enhance Fran.
Oh, right. But he does have 2 Frans.
He does have. Oh, that's true.
He does have 2 Frans. He could go double Curse.
That's
this turn,
pretty.
too.
I mean, going right before turn 7, playing both of your Frans.
I mean, yeah, this is all bad. I'm not saying this is good. HISHIRO, like I said, he had the Cerberus. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to fight into that when you don't have a Cerb of your own.
Right, right. Next turn for HISHIRO, he's just got even more followers to fill up the board again, and POTWASHER's hand is getting very small.
Small. All right, so it will be, as I said, yep. And he's actually left over with a board here, which actually managed to do something quite nice. He's got to do it within the time limit, though. He's going to have enough time.
Oh, no.
Okay, there is a consideration also that he wanted to save it to use with Gilnelise next turn to take down a big follower. So we'll say he probably ran out of time there, but we don't know.
To take down a big follower, it's turn 6. There's not going to be an evolved Arcus. The biggest thing could be a Cerberus evolved, and Fran's Attendant can already take that out.
Yeah, but you're allowing your opponent the turn plus the Evo point to actually deal with it before they play their big follower. It's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough.
Either way, it's rough. You're right.
So Gremory in hand for HISHIRO. So if a lot of this board sticks around, Gremory will be there. There's no Evo points left for POTWASHER. So the Fran's Attendant is the only way to deal with anything on this board right now.
He could Pure-Hearted Singer first. I think he might have to.
100% Pure-Hearted here. He's considering Gilnelise, basically saying, okay, if my opponent has Gilnelise here, how much damage is possible? Let's count that. So 3, 4, 5 plus Evo 7 plus 8 is 15, so it's not lethal. So he can play Gilnelise this turn to potentially deal with the board next turn and also use Drain to get himself back into the game.
I don't know. That seems...
If he plays Pure-Hearted Singer, he's hoping for 1 card and 1 card only, and that is Orthrus. He needs something to help him clear this board. Maybe the 3rd Fran.
Yeah, maybe another Fran.
But it's not looking good.
It's not looking good either way, however you shake it.
Okay, so playing the follower first. Wants to get the ping on this. And then we'll play the Gilnelise. Okay. I like it. HISHIRO, I mean, this is almost a mandatory Gremory.
Oh, you got it, man.
Yeah, when you can do it now that it costs 7, you just do it.
Oh, yeah.
Free Evos for your entire board, and of course, as the effect that we saw earlier, all of your evolved followers at the end of turn gain the effect when they die, you draw a card. Very, very solid mid-game here.
Absolutely very strong.
HISHIRO knows the way to win on the draw, man.
Yep.
This is it.
Knows how to do it. Ooh, Silent Purge.
Okay.
Another interesting one of in POTWASHER's deck. Removes all effects from a follower for 1 cost, except changes to his attack and defense. Or if you play it for Enhance 5, it then destroys that follower.
Okay, so POTWASHER doing everything in his power to extend this game to turn 10. He's getting there. This double Gilnelise play into a potential board wipe next turn, not board wipe, but at least wipe enough of the board to not have lethal, can set him up with a fairy already in hand going into turn 10. That's not a guaranteed lethal, but it could be.
Sure. No player has Arcus down just yet.
No, I think this is Orthrus Evo face. I think you just smash with as much as you can. You try to end this game next turn. That's all you can do. I think not Evoing face here would probably be a mistake. You need to force through as much damage as you possibly can. And he knows it. Yep, playing down both Orthrus.
Just to get the largest followers that he possibly can on board.
Yep. is it. Now, Purge can deal with one of these followers. That's it. We'll have to use the Gilnelise. Is there anything that he can top deck here to keep him in it? No. Cerberus isn't going to do it. So he can take out one follower, leaving behind way more than 7 damage. Looking to draw something here.
And then Gilnelise can trade into one of the Orthrus, one of the big followers.
Yeah, Gilnelise will have to trade now.
Shields him back up to 3, but Potwasher
knows
taps
it's
out.
over.
He knows it's over.
And HISHIRO is going to show everybody up and deny our Polies the advantage here.
That is a final score of 6-3 for the Europe versus Pan America.
They cleaned up today.
They cleaned up today.
They cleaned up.
3 wins.
ESSIA's little EU greater than NA sign really shining through today.
Oh my gosh.
HISHIRO being the only 3-0 player. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, European side of things looking pretty strong.
HISHIRO beat CRUMSION, POTWASHER, and SPRAYQUAZA.
Yeah.
He's certainly the best positioned player going into the World Grand Prix. That's all there is to it.
I believe so. I think he has shown himself to be one of the top dogs. I think Potwasher's there, CRUMSION. I mean, all of our players there, right?
They're all incredibly
there.
strong.
The Crucible showed us maybe a pecking order as it goes into the World Grand Prix, but I mean, of course, there's a lot of preparation until then. There's a lot more things going on for these players, getting, like a lot of them said, their lives in order, plus boot camping, plus
their lives in order.
I mean, they have to go
they
to
have
Japan
to set
I've
got to set my affairs in order. Yeah.
You gotta imagine these are our younger guys, right? Younger 20s, maybe even late teens and mid 20s, and they're still going to university or college. They're still
working.
They're still working.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of things to attend to along with Shadowverse.
It's going to be a long trip too. It's not just like a weekend getaway.
No, they're there early to do promo shooting, and you know, if they're on teams, they have to do stuff with their teams and things like that, which is awesome. But yeah, a lot of things to get done. A lot of focus needed for those tournaments, and honestly, endurance. If I were to tell any of our players and any of you players at home looking to get into big competitive esports, test your endurance. And what I mean by that is play long sessions of your game leading up to big
tournaments. If you have a day off and you can, like, all right, today I'm going to try this out. I'm just going to play 8 hours of Shadowverse just to see what it's like. Because that's what it takes. And that's going to be difficult for your first time.
If you're a player who's like, man, I don't know if I can play Shadowverse for 8 hours. What do you think those big competitive events are? That you go to the Shadowverse tournament against, 300 other people in the room, 400 other people in the room. You're going to be playing for 8, 9, 10, maybe even 11 hours. It's like that for any game, and card games specifically. I mean, you're playing all day.
Yep, absolutely. So we have our victors, the European team. Let's take a look at their beautiful, beautiful faces. MENSOU, ESSIA, and HISHIRO 6-3. MENSOU, of course, his record was 1-2, ESSIA 2-1, and HISHIRO 3-0. SPRAYQUAZA, CRUMSION, and POTWASHER played very, very well.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't even, like, CRUMSION was down 2-0 and came back to win, but couldn't get it done in the other formats outside of rotations. So, you know what? That's a good 3 weeks of Crucible right here.
This was a good 3 weeks of Shadowverse, and these players. Of course, we talked about this just a little bit earlier in the show, but all of the players have now been locked in for the World Grand Prix. There was the JCG 2018 qualifying tournament, and of course Rage last week, and so we know who those players are going to be. From the Rage qualifier, there was Hearn and Karakuri, and Hearn was the only player at Rage who brought Artifact Portal and won first place with Artifact Portal.
What a boss. He's
one
of those players to definitely watch out for. He's definitely a reimagining of my mind of a player like a Trickster or a Praetorian, players who didn't quite make it to the World Grand Prix this year, but are players who are just ready to throw out new decks and just test their fate against an entire field of amazing players. And of course, we've got Feg and Rio.
Yeah, and Karakui, he's a high school student. He's probably one of the youngest players.
Young.
And he got 3rd place in Rage Brigade of the Sky, and he got 2nd place in Rage Omen of the Tent.
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back. And Feg is the only player out of the whole bunch to qualify for back-to-back World Grand Prix. He was there last year.
So he's going to be competing along with Kocha.
Along with Kocha, who earned a spot for being the champion.
Nice. So we're going to have 2 repeats back in it. Of course, our 6 are a brand new 6 that we're sending out from the last year's World Grand Prix. And I like our chances. Like I said, I like our chances. They have a lot of strong players. We have great players. I don't mean that to make that sound skewed, but I do. Okay, we have great players that we're sending over there.
Yes, we do.
against these mediocre players overseas.
Against these chumps.
These chumps, no, I mean, they're great. They're obviously great. They have big competitions out there. They play against thousands of people to earn their top slots to go to the World Grand Prix. So no small feat for our guys to beat them, but I can't wait to actually see it in action.
Yep, absolutely. So the Crucible is done with, but that's not it. There's ways that people can continue to compete in Shadowverse for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. So coming up soon, December 1st, the Shadow Nexus alongside of Panda Global will be bringing a region-free tournament to play with the new mini expansion and have some fun. Prizing will be done by HyperX, so a bunch of cool HyperX gear to be given out there. But check it out on the Battlefy and just click on the event that's going to be running on December 1st to check that out. And of course, there are weekly community events. Always be on Battlefy checking for those. Battlefy, just type in Shadowverse to the search, and then it'll pull up all the cool weekly events that are going on. So if you guys want to stay involved with Shadowverse, because it's not just the Crucible that's ending today, it's the Shadowverse Open. We're going to be gone for the rest of the year. You'll see me at the World Grand Prix, but besides that, we're going to be gone until next year.
And just like that, Shadowverse Open is done. The entire year of 2018 is over. From all of us at NGE and Side Games, we thank you so much for watching. You're the reason that we do this. Thank you for participating and playing. It's been a good year.
It's been a great year, and I couldn't have asked for better Shadowverse. Like, last year, the competition looked so amazing. This year, I'm just like, man, these guys are polished. They're honed. Their skills are, like, on a whole nother level. The Contenders Cup was brilliant. You know what I mean? It was absolutely brilliant with the amazing play that was by every player in the event. Of course, you guys need to check out the World Grand Prix. If you guys have been watching all year, even if you haven't been watching all year, and this is the first time you've seen this game, check out the World Grand Prix, which is coming up in mid-December. It's going to be happening the 14th through the 16th. Make sure you guys are checking it out. Again, $1 million is going to be given away to one of our Shadowverse players.
Someone's going to be $1 million. Who's going to be $1 million?
Who's going to be a millionaire at the end of this year? It could be one of our guys, so definitely don't go anywhere for the rest of this year, and make sure to tune back into us at the beginning of next year as we kick off the new season.
And with that, we say goodbye, but we will be seeing you next year.